It's time to shake things up again. The WWE draft hit us for the first night of two on Smackdown last night. But it's not just WWE we're shaking things up. Oh no, oh no, oh no. For the first time, we're going to have ourselves the Smack Attack draft. And what better way to do it than have a nice little head-to-head. Welcome to the Smack Attack, James McIver, not alongside my partner in crime, John Enright. He's off doing weddings. He's missing out on all the fun. But I'm joined by two icons of the Hammy Media Group. As always, I'm joined by the Vet. And I'm joined by a man who has his own diet plan, RBV. How we doing, boys? Thanks for coming on. Thanks for being part of the show. I'm hoping to get a really good one out of this one. This could be a really exciting show for us here. How are we doing this weekend? How we are? A bit of an early start this week, but
well, hey MacGyver, you know, when you pitched this idea, you know, everybody was really trying to jump on board with this thing, knocked out of the park with this idea, and to be one of the two gentlemen here to participate, simply incredible. Look forward to it. But I got a little bit of heat with you here. I thought I was going to have Enright, and I know I could have crushed him in this, and then you go and bring in a ringer like the Vet. Come on, man. What are you doing to me?
Yeah, it could be worse. You could have been paired up against me. This saying.
Oh my god. Yeah, well, I mean, this is this was entirely my suggestion, so the deck was stacked from the beginning.
Yeah.
But it is nice to get a chance to finally do something with you, RBV. I mean, I did see there on Twitter, though, that you said that I was a scary guy. And look, I think James could tell you, like, I'm not scary, right, James?
No, he's all good.
Right,
he's
James?
Nice once you get... I mean, yeah, he's fine. He's fine.
That actually goes back to it came up in conversation just this past Monday on the Monday Locker Room with Hameen, and he put you over on that, Vet. He said as long as he's known you, even though his name's on the door, he said you still scare him.
I'm the one man to strike fear in the heart of the Ayatollah,
There's
I don't know where this comes from. I mean, I just you know, I've only made like Big Ray cry 6 or 7 times, you know. I only got Colin broadcasting out of his closet. I mean, it's not like, you know, Jargo only wants to work with me once every 3 months. What did I ever do to anybody? I'm a cuddly, cute individual.
Hey,
you know.
We love you here. We love you. And so does the live chat. And speaking of live chat, congratulations to Robert Christensen. First comment in the chat. Good morning, man. Hope you enjoy the show. Hope you enjoy what's coming later on. I'm looking forward to seeing how the live chat reacts to this whole thing. It's usually bouncing when we talk about a boring show, but man, I can't wait to see what it's like when we have something fun going on at the same time. So this is the first time I've got to do something fun. I've pitched town halls. I've pitched a blind date, or the dating game you guys call it. Nada. But now the draft comes.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah. I'm still waiting on that email for the dating game. It's still coming. But no, this is going to be a fun one. We've got a lot to dive into. We've got a lot to talk about for that. Yeah, we've got Smackdown opening the draft tonight, or last night rather. And initial thoughts, we're going to kind of go about it a little bit differently. We're going to do the review of the main segments of the show as if it was a normal episode of SmackDown. And then we're going to deep dive the draft itself for the first half of the draft that we've done last night. But general thoughts so far, what were you guys thinking last night coming out of it? Not the worst SmackDown I've seen, and not a bad draft, all things considered.
Well,
your faces tell a tale.
Here's the thing. just for an example, like this was centered around the draft. That was really the only reason. They kind of had some matches here and there. But the whole point of it was to kind of get you interested in the whole shakeup idea, right? That's what they always focus on, and it was kind of like so the first round of picks, there's some head scratchers in the first round of picks, but then you realize as it go on, they're doing that thing where they're like, only half of the roster is eligible, and then the other half is eligible on SmackDown. And they explained this last year, and they spent a decent amount of time explaining it last year. But for a show that, James, now we've covered it recently, and we've been pointing out like how, you know how they beat you over the head with recaps of last week, recaps of 2 segments ago, in the same show. It's like, that's one thing that they could have explained again and they didn't.
No.
So it's very confusing when you see them drafting Bianca Belair and not a Becky Lynch right off the bat. You need to tell us, like, not before like the second hour of the show, that some of these people aren't getting drafted tonight at all. Or you could have even showed us. I believe they showed us the pool last year of people that were only going to be drafted, right? Did they not?
Yeah, they released the pool. I think at the beginning of the show they showed you, like, these are the guys that are going to be drafted tonight, and then we'll have another pool tomorrow morning. I think the only hint we got tonight of the rules of any sense was the Heyman segment, where he talked about the Usos not being drafted was part of the strategy.
And how late in the show was that?
That was about coming into the second hour at least, was it not?
Right. So for a show that has no faith in you actually watching on a continuous basis, and assuming that you don't know anything that's going on at any time, and that you couldn't just jump in and follow along anyway, like they have some sort of, like, you know, labyrinthine twists of their plot developments and stuff like that. This is for children. So I don't know why they don't bother to explain something that's like the entire focus of the show, and yet, you know, they have to make sure that you know that Liv Morgan had a match with Carmella on Sunday, and this is what happened in it, because, you know, I know we all care, right?
So. You know, what I find, you know, the draft inside of itself, when we hear draft, it's exciting. You think about the NFL and what a ratings grab that is. You guys are talking about, you know, them explaining the rules. I don't think the WWE really even knew what the hell they were doing with this thing. So, but when we go back to that draft concept, what's always blowing me away is how they miss on this thing. All you got to do is recreate that. Where are the war rooms? Where am I getting a cam where you can have like some legends together for the Raw side, where they're plotting, or, you know, they're planning? Where's the SmackDown side? I mean, you think about that. You could have I'm trying to think of who's not contracted to AEW that could be sitting there, you know, who's their agents are, but what if you had like Shawn Michaels and the Clique sitting in the SmackDown side, and Bret Hart's leading a Raw side? Or you had Cornette on one side and Russo on the other side.
Or even like the McMahons. They got to have Shane like being in charge of that, or Pritchard, Paul Heyman, all these little things.
And you have that kind of going on where they got all their stats and they're looking and they're on the phone, they're back and forth, you know, trying to make deals, and you got your movers and shakers. We don't get any of that with this.
No, no, Rick, nothing. Too interesting. Cut it. We don't want it. We don't want that. They did have the War Room before. Do you remember that?
That was the last one.
It was really corny the way they did it, because they had they even had, because Fox had SmackDown, and they had Cletus, you know, from the NFL, like in the room with them.
You're right, but and then they so misfired on it though. It didn't look anything like what you see from the NFL.
They had the people like the people in the room like overselling when Raw made a good pick. The people on SmackDown be like, "Oh no," and like throwing papers. Is just like, it was, of course, a WWE version of what you're talking about. So that's what we would get if they did that again.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's better or worse that they left it off, but for you know, they're clearly trying to fill time in so many places, and you would think that something like that would just fill the time itself. You wouldn't even have to work too hard. It's just a room full of people in an office, and you don't have to have any sound. You could just show them pantomiming like they did before. I mean, who cares if it's corny? Just something.
You know, to the point you were talking about the pool that's available. I mean, could you imagine tuning in day one of the NFL draft, but only the Pac and Big Ten are eligible to be drafted today? You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Gone. TV's off.
Yeah.
It's not even worth the time. But then it's like you could dedicate the whole show to this. You don't have to split it between SmackDown and Raw. You could pick one and just dedicate the whole show to that. Preferably SmackDown.
Those networks would be up your butt on that.
They would, but come on. Like, we don't need to split, because it just makes it more. I think you're right. It's more enthralling when you've got everyone there and anything can happen. And you could build it like, you don't have to have these matches like you had tonight. You could just get rid of those, focus on the backstage politics, get the war rooms going, have interviews with superstars who don't know what's going on. You know, have these little things that kind of build life, sort of like the NFL draft. And I just don't think they've got the flavor for the draft any better than what they did the first time back in 2002 when Vince and Ric Flair done it. Because I suppose as far as people we are aware, no one really knew what was happening. It was, here we go. You're going there, you're going there. Split up the Dudley boys without telling them. These little things like that. Just little spitey bitterness moves that they made, but it made for really enthralling television. And if you expanded that to war rooms and make it similar to NFL draft, can you imagine? Like, that'd be must-see TV on a yearly basis.
Did they give, maybe I missed on this, did they give a reason why they held this thing in October as opposed to, we used to get this like a month outside of WrestleMania, correct?
Yeah, it makes no sense. Also, what makes even less sense is that they're doing this draft, but then it doesn't come into effect until after Saudi Arabia. Like, why would you do the draft now then? Like, it used to be draft's done, there's your rosters, let's move on. Like, you wait till Saudi Arabia happens. How long have we got till Survivor Series after that? So like 3 weeks?
Well, the Saudi show's not till the 21st.
Yeah,
that's when it comes
an
entire month before this kicks in.
Yeah, so I think the date they gave us was the 20th. That's when the draft kicks in, or the new rosters kick in, which is insane. This is madness. Like, why would I want to watch SmackDown and Raw for the next 3 weeks, knowing that? That'd be my honest to God question. Is like, what's the point?
Or ever.
What's the point?
Why would you ever want to watch?
That's it.
could you build some intrigue though? And say, turn this negative into a positive here. We got 3 weeks, and anyone that goes undrafted becomes a free agent. Could you have like a courting period where you do have like agents, or they're trying to work out deals along those lines of who could end up somewhere? Could you take someone maybe goes under the radar here, like a John Cena, and starts showing up, and where is he going to sign? You could create some intrigue there.
Yeah. Well, my dream was
but to follow that logic now. You weren't important enough to get picked for free, so now we're going to spend an effort trying to convince you to join.
Yeah. Well,
actually, now that I say that out loud, that does seem like something they would do. It makes no sense. Let's go with it. I don't know, man. I think really overall, when you see this draft as like a half-ass version of last year's draft, which is a half-ass version of whatever they did before, and I'm just noticing a general trend in the world in general where things are just getting more half-assed. Like it from the smallest, tiniest levels to the biggest, the biggest macro level. There's just less effort put into everything that's getting done. And I think that the WWE can coast on these things like the Saudi deals, the rights fees things. If they didn't have that, if they were actually having to earn this with houses and stuff like that, oh my God, they'd shut down in 6 months.
Oh, unbelievable. Really good question from Robert Christensen here. What WWE fails to do is tell us what is at stake with the concept of their draft. With the NFL, teams are trying to draft players that will add to the roster in an effort to build championship teams. So that's a good point. There's not really any draft. This is basically like trading cards at this stage. It's like, here's your roster, congratulations. But there's no element of
and it's still rigged. It's still rigged. Like they already know what they're gonna do. It'd be really, like if you really do have Fox and USA fighting over who's supposed to get on their show and doing a shoot draft, now that might be interesting.
I want that. I genuinely want that because you'll get the best telly and you'll get some really interesting rosters out of it. But then you'll also get the philosophies of these companies as well. Like obviously you want main events, all your main eventers on it there, but I can see Fox Sports sitting back going, okay, we've got this guy, this guy, this guy. We see a few people in NXT that we reckon we can get up there and we can help them build up on TV and all that stuff. So let's sit back, let's pick them, and let's mandate WWE, right? Like Braun Breaker, for example. Just as an example, so it's like, right, Braun Breaker, he's done really well. We could do something with him. I'll tell you what, draft Braun Breaker. WWE, we want you to spend, we'll spend so much on this, we'll get him on our Fox shows or NFL shows, and we'll promote the crap out of him. You do your bit in the ring, we'll do ours, and build them up. I think that would be quite intriguing to see if you got those philosophies from the TV networks come out, but you'll never get it. They'll just say, I want him, and him. And then, we can't have him. Well, fix something.
Yeah.
So,
and the guys at the network, they don't know who most of these people are. They're only going to say, I want the person I've heard of. Hey, I heard of that. I've heard of Ric Flair's daughter, whatever her name is. I want her on my show. That's about the level of interest that most of these people would even have. If they got like one mark or two inside the actual, inside the actual company, but most of them don't know who that is or care.
Yeah, I mean, some people pointing out on the a chat here that people got drafted to the show that were already on into this draft. So no real point in that. You could say retained rather than drafted.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys about that. I mean, isn't that kind of smart though? I mean, you can protect your asset that you're already invested in. If we're pulling ourselves away from this thing.
Yeah. Like you, if you're SmackDown, you would never take Roman Reigns off your show. You'd be the number one pick all day long. You wouldn't mess around with things like that. My dream for like these sort of things is rather than have a draft, is have a transfer window. So for like a month or 2 months, superstars could negotiate a contract to the other brand. And I would always think that's quite interesting because you could have superstars who are disgruntled who want to move on and try and cause a fuss on their show to make a move. You'll have big stars like Roman Reigns where you'll have like reports coming out, Raw about to throw such and such millions of dollars to get him onto Raw. What are the negotiations like? And all these little things, you can have little storylines where superstars are trying to like hand in transfer requests. I want to move to Raw. Or like they're trying to get rid of Deadwood. Like, we don't need this player. Let's just get him over to NXT, send them Raw. And these little stories, I always love I don't know what it's like over your way in America, but for soccer or football and soccer, I love transfer windows because there's so much fascination about clubs trying to get rid of players for their wage bill, players who want to move and play top level football, players who aren't happy with the club, all these little things. And they're all little nuggets of storytelling that you get in real life. And to see that play out in a wrestling context would be really fun.
I think that'd be cool. It'd be just like contracts. Like, okay, Miz's contract's coming up. Now he's going to start negotiating. Where's could NXT come into play or something along those lines?
Not just that as well, though. It's like you could say, well, Miz's contract for Raw runs out next month and he can move to SmackDown for free. So what can they do? What are they going to do to keep him? Or will he just move over for nothing? These little things would just be maybe too complex for the simple WWE fan, but for the sort of die-hardy side of us, I think we'd all have a bit of fun.
because you wouldn't be in real situations that you could just report on. You'd have to manufacture these like you manufacture everything else. And the WWE doesn't ever talk about money unless it's some phony bullshit like Corbin or something. I'm not even going to call him what they call him on this show. I'm not going to dignify that by saying it, but like that's the only time that money is mentioned. Money's never mentioned as like a motivating factor when it comes to like, somebody trying to win a match as opposed to just walking out. Like, you see people like, I'm leaving. I don't want to fight this match. I'm just going to take the count out. It's like, no one ever talks about like why somebody would want to, stay and try to win a match. 'Cause you might win more money if you win the match or anything like that. Like they just don't talk about these kind of things. So they're certainly not going to do like a kayfabe version of talking about people's contracts and stuff like that, because that's just more work for them, really.
I suppose that's true.
It's funny you say that because I just remember going back. Jesse Ventura would always talk about the winner's purse. Mm-hmm. He would regularly talk about that during big events or whatever the case might be, and it put something on the line. That's why you stuck in there.
Yeah.
Yep. So otherwise, why wouldn't everybody just take a count out? Like if they're all on guaranteed contracts, it's like, I ain't fighting. I'm out of here. Like every match ends in a double count out because no one wants to punch each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
What
pride?
Like oh yeah, like when it's SmackDown versus Raw for bragging rights that they never brag about.
Oh, that only happens one time a year. Survivor Series.
Yeah. Apart from the other 4 times where superstars can come against each other from other brands. Oh my God! I mean, you've got a King of the Ring tournament coming up. That went over the head for me this last night. They're doing the King of the Ring and the it's not the Queen of the Ring, is it? It's Queen of the Crown or something. That's some shit like that. Yeah. Yeah. I'll come back to me as we're doing the review. I've got in my notes here, but yeah, like a lot of that goes over the head. So I think we're maybe being too smart for our own good. Planning these things and coming up with these ideas for that there. But no, it's an interesting time. There's a nice little shuffling of the deck, changing things, always at the worst possible time for WWE. Queen's Crown, there we go. Elizabeth, thank you very much. You're an absolute gem here. Queen's Crown was what it was called.
Don't forget it. Too late. We already forgot it.
We did. Memorable tournament coming up for that there. Yeah. But should we get into this? Because should we get into like the SmackDown side of things? Let's just get that out the way.
Get it out of the way. Let's
for the most part,
through it.
The most part of this, it's exhibition matches, so there's no rhyme or reason to them. Maybe apart from the Corbin Owens match and the main event, the rest are just there. You go. New Day and the Street Profits against Alpha Academy, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. Have fun. They won't be on the same show anymore. It wasn't the most eventful match. Even a match that was supposed to be a match, but then wasn't a match. I don't want to talk about the Carmella stuff, to be honest with you, but I guess we have to. But let's get into it. So after the first round of the drafts, we had Reigns and Paul Heyman coming into the ring. Reigns demanded, the crowd acknowledges him. And Heyman said there wasn't the crowd that wasn't loud enough for their tribal chief. The mix of cheers and boos. Heyman says Raymond's defense against Brock Lesnar will not happen in Suplex City. The Suplexorcist. I love that. I absolutely love that term. The Suplexorcist. So he called him that. Roman Reigns will leave Crown Jewel's Universal Champion. Lesnar comes in the ring, stands in front of Roman Reigns, and they have a right old back and forth. It was really lovely. Some kind of just nothing major, just some punches thrown from Roman Reigns until Brock Lesnar got the advantage and suplexed him to death, as is his wont. The Usos come in. Lesnar does exactly the same, suplexes him to death, and we just have him staring at Roman Reigns from the ring as Roman Reigns backs off. Again, quick, simple segment, does the job. Brock Lesnar coming after Roman Reigns, Crown Jewel. He doesn't even say anything at this point for that there. All right, segment. It wasn't like, as I say, nothing about this show is spectacular, but it was this one I thought was okay.
I would like to point out that the Reigns and Heyman entrance was interrupted by the first recap of the night.
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
Don't worry, I'll keep track of the recaps for everybody, just so we...
I deliberately dodged these.
Yeah, no, I'll put them back in.
Is a recap better, though, than the cock just cutting to a random boner pill commercial during his entrance that we got on the pay-per-view?
Depends how your boner's working.
Do you get that?
You might want to know that brand. If Blue Chew ain't working, you might want to try one of those ones with more consonants in it.
The blue brand, the blue pill, it all ties together.
Do you guys get that advert that has like, it just comes up with different names for your dick? Like Wang, Wingy, Winky, Dunger, Dubal, like all these names. It goes on for like a minute. You're like, have these Viagra pills. Okay, cool. Right. That's literally what the advert is. So do you guys get that? Or is that just over here in the UK?
I don't think we're allowed to do as much risque stuff as that here for whatever reason. But
yeah.
One thing I do notice is like whenever you watch what is it, like shows like Ring of Honor on demand, like on Fight TV or something like that, man, there's all those, the Car Shield, the Nugenics, it's just stuff for old people. There's Joe Namath trying to sell you some sort of life insurance or what. Like, I'm like, man, they think 65-year-old people are watching Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're getting old soon. You and your 40-year-old self. You're getting old soon. Oh, fucking hell, hope not. Like,
gotta start thinking about it. But yeah.
Yeah. But anything else you want to add before we crack on? Nope. Straight to business. I like it. I'm liking where this is going. Charlotte Flair saying, of course, Fox took the opportunity to draft the most decorated women's champion of all time. Long live the Queen and all that. Blah, blah, blah. Happy Corbin versus Kevin Owens. Is Happy Corbin... I worked this out because Happy Corbin's coming in his gear. Riddick Moss, or what was he called? What was his name?
Madcap Moss.
Madcap Moss.
Just in case there was any doubt that this is a 76-year-old man's TV show, they gave this man the nickname Madcap.
Yep. And he had the hat and the suspenders to go with it, which I'm not going to lie, kind of like it. Kind of. Just the absurdity of it.
You're part of the problem, James.
I know, I'm part of the problem. I'm ashamed of it. I'm not proud, but at the same time...
I also like to say that Kevin Owens' entrance was interrupted by a recap.
Oh my God. Again. Who was that for the recap of what happened last week and the week before that?
Yeah, just to show Madcap Moss making his debut in a... he went from this dirty, grimy, low-level hoodie to, a nice... the suspenders get up, the 1920s.
Why did it not just come out like that in the first place? That would have worked well better. It would have made more sense.
Yep. Laughing like the Joker. Just
yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
It dawned on me though, watching this match, that Corbin's putting together a syndicate. Because it's a gambling storyline. So all his success has come from gambling. And Madcap Moss is because of his gambling success. He's showed him his ways and the business techniques and everything like that. It's a gambling syndicate. They're gonna bring They're gonna bring another guy in. They're gonna have 4 guys. I swear it'll happen. They'll call themselves the Syndicate or something like that. And if it happens, I want my royalty check in the mail, first class. Thank you. That is
they'll lose everything to a poker game when the APA comes back, and then we can finally get rid of
I was going to say, who's the gentleman down there in NXT? I know that you guys love over on Next Level, the Staten Island mobster guy.
Oh, Tony D'Angelo. Hey, forget about it. You want to have a gambling syndicate on my show?
Yeah. Are they trying to rip off the Johnny Swinger thing? Is that what this is coming to? That we're going to start seeing Corbin have his own casino backstage, a la the APA, as you mentioned earlier.
We've done enough shows together now, Jimmy, that I'm no fan of the WWE. But if anything can make the WWE look professional and hilarious, it's the Swingers Palace. Trust me. That is some of the worst television you can watch.
It really is. Like, the point where like matches are getting booked there, and you're like, why is that happening? I ran out of chips. Well, you're gonna have a match with Falaba. Congratulations.
that is not even a joke he made.
That's an actual thing.
Yeah.
But so we had a back and forth match. Moss trips Owens on the apron while the referee's distracted. They have a commercial break. Corbin hits the end of days, but then Michael Cole said, or should we call it Happy Days? And I wish I had the Happy Days team ready to go for that one.
No, that's all right. We'd probably get kicked off.
Oh, very much so. I usually get copyrighted strike for some reason, but whatever. But Corbin hits the end of days, out to the ring. Corbin brings him back in, hits another end of days, gets the win. Ha ha ha. We're so funny and we're rich. Get it up, you Kevin Owens. Goodbye. That was it. Again, these things are just short, sweet, simple. They're not long matches. They don't really achieve much. Apart from, actually, catch my notes. The next segment actually does a bit of a job.
Well, before we get there, I want to ask RBV, because there's been multiple opinions. It almost seems like I'm the holdout here. I think that the Baron Corbin stuff has been some of the worst things I've ever seen. A lot of people seem to be putting it over and liking it. Where do you stand? Or have you even seen enough?
Yeah. I'm going to go in the middle ground here. I think people are really enjoying it in comparison to what they've been given with him, because the bar has been set so low that anything was. See, like my favorite Baron Corbin was going back to NXT when he was just, you know what? I didn't have to work the indies. I didn't have to go to bingo halls. I'm just that good.
Yeah.
I just came right to WWE. I'm better than you. That was my favorite Baron Corbin. But since leaving that spot and leaving development, NXT, whatever the case might be, he's I don't know if he's really found that direction, that voice. So I think now that he has something, that people are just jumping on it because he's actually producing now. Now the level of the quality, I don't know.
All right, you can stay.
I'm appreciating it as an improvement on what he's done before in terms of character stuff, because I can see him.
To me though, inside of the same company, you look what Grimes is doing. I think he's doing it way better from the rags to riches whole deal.
Yeah.
So in comparison, that's where I don't enjoy it. I'd just rather go watch it on NXT.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Actually, to be fair, Cameron Grimes is doing it a bit better. Do you think Cameron Grimes comes up? It's got to be a matter of time before he moves up, surely. Got a nice little
where does he go? What does he do? Because you've already got Corbin essentially using his act, what he's done.
Yeah, unless you kind of mysteriously have Cameron Grimes as like the lead of the syndicate. The sort of all along.
They're not doing a syndicate, James. That was your idea.
That was my idea. Yeah, to be honest, yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I was like, it was me, baby. There we go. Bitcoin, everyone. Dogecoin, all day long. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm memeing my way through that.
It's just weird to put such great emphasis on stuff that people know isn't true. Like, look, we know Baron Corbin did not just wear that same shirt for like 2 months. We know that. We know he only put it on, when he got to the show and it was all wrinkled. You know what I mean? Like, we don't believe you. Stop wasting our time with this stupid shit. If this is what it takes to try to get somebody over, which they've already been like using him for, however long, and just these boring capacities. And a lot of it's their fault, but he's not like, I'd never seen anything from him that says, man, I'm really glad that he's got a job here. It's kind of like it's time to fish or cut bait, I think. And if this is the thing that's supposedly revitalizing this guy, then that's a bad sign.
They pushed it so fast. I mean, he went from the poorhouse to refinding himself within like a month. I mean, draw this thing out for us. I mean, this could have taken a year, and again, WWE style, 6 months of booking in 6 minutes. Yeah. So it just cram it down your throat so fast you can't even absorb it and really buy into it.
Yeah,
well, it was that's the thing. Like you said, they shotgunned the whole thing so fast that at the rate they were going, they had to get him to win a jackpot, because they were just going to find him dead on an anvil case backstage of starvation. Like they didn't even give it any time for like it to play out, like him getting worse and worse and worse over time. It just happened in like an unrealistic short period of time. So
yeah,
sorry, Jay.
I was going to say they had like the perfect place to do it, but the worst time. Vegas is obviously, if you're going to do it, you do it in Vegas where he wins the money. But yeah, within like a space of a month, not even, of the storyline starting after losing the crown, it just kills it a little bit. It takes away the investment a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you want to kind of see, because when it first happened, I was looking at seeing it as sort of like a road to recovery storyline. We're going to see him turn a new leaf and become this different person, or learn a lesson. That was what I was always thinking, was he's going to kind of grow from this. He'll learn a lesson, and then maybe just as sort of a last laugh twist end at the end, he wins at Vegas, and it turns out he's learned fuck all from it all. He's just like, I'm the same guy all along, guys.
Is the payoff to this new King of the Ring that he wins this thing back?
Oh, please God, no.
And speaking of that, I mean, does Nakamura then just forfeit this thing, or do we have two kings walking around now, or what the hell?
Well,
yeah.
You know what? We've already spent way too much time on this. I know it's your show, James, but I would like to just move the hell on. The next thing is a recap of Becky and Bianca at Extreme Rules.
Recap number 3. I got my counter over here for
get the
for
clicker.
That's number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it goes on and on. But congratulations, Vet, because pushing on the show means you get the highest reward, the best segment of the night. Hooray! Edge comes out to the ring to answer Seth Rollins' challenge, talks about how he was the only person still active in the original draft, which is not true. Wasn't Jeff Hardy part of the 2002 draft? I'm sure they were. I'm sure.
No, he said the first episode of SmackDown, which was 99.
Ah, right, because he said the draft. Jeff Hardy was on that episode, was he not? The Hardys were there. Yeah, the Hardys were there like early 99. I can't remember. I think they had the match with the Hardys on that show.
Maybe
I might be wrong, but
that's a thing that can be found out. Chat, get on that while we continue on with the show. Was Jeff Hardy on the premiere episode of SmackDown?
Yeah, I'd love to know. The premiere, not the one in October. We're talking pilot episode here. The one we did that shit promo with Gangrel. Yep, I remember. Prince Farms remembers. But anyways.
Is that back when they were on the WB?
Yeah.
Or UPN, one of those.
Oh, totally. I think it was UPN, yeah. But anyway, so Edge came there. He talks about he's the only one standing from the SmackDown in the original time. SmackDown is home, but he's excited to go to Raw. Seth knows he isn't 100%, and he wants to get an advantage over me. He also wants to come to the ring and make him say what he wants to say. So if you want me to say about me, come and do it. Turns out Rollins isn't there. He's on the Tron. He's sitting outside this specific building. And he says, I can't believe Edge came. And I didn't think, but he said he was going to be at SmackDown, and here you are. Unfortunately, I didn't say I was going to be at SmackDown. I said I was going to be at home. He is at Edge's house. And then my suspension of disbelief ended quite quickly, if I'm totally honest. Seth Rollins rings the doorbell, knocks on it, asks for Beth Phoenix, then opens the door. If there's no one home, you lock the door. What kind of idiot just leaves the house open? So, and he goes. So he walks in the house.
He addressed that once he got inside.
Did he?
Because a lot of people that do live in the Midwest and stuff here, like they don't lock their doors because there's no one around for miles, so there's really no point. Unless you expect a psychopath to show up, like they probably should have.
I'm in the Midwest right now. My door is unlocked. Our neighbors, we just come in and out of each other's houses.
That's too reckless for my liking. My door's locked even if I'm in the house.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting in. Sorry, guys. But anyway, so Seth Rollins comes in. He peruses around the house. He gets some. I was going to say he pours himself a glass of OJ, but he gets the bottle, he gets the glass, but he just drinks out of the bottle anyway. Appreciates the fine art on offer and said they're not going to grow up. The kids aren't going to grow up to be artists. Just loved. Found his way into the lounge.
He said it's rotten, which I thought was great.
It's so bad. I actually feel like Edge and Beth said to kids, make some art, put it on the wall. We're going to put it on TV. You can see it on the TV. And then Rollins just slamming that as hard as he can. It's beautiful, beautiful stuff. But he just kind of saunters around the house, gets in and out, pours himself a drink, walks into the lounge area and makes up the fire. And Edge just runs to the back to call home. Because Gorilla's going to solve that problem there. You just go home. Just get home. At the very least, the first thing you should call is the police, surely. Like, a man's just broke into my house, he's not supposed to be there, and go from there. Because they're not there. They're not in the house.
Well, there's no hurry because they're documenting this crime as it's happening, and I guess the camera crew doesn't mind being accessories to breaking and entering, so or just entering. I guess he didn't break anything, so
he just entered against the
minor theft of orange juice. I don't know what degree of crime that is, but I mean they captured it all on film, so there's no hurry. He can take his time.
I mean, if you want me to turn on next week, I'd love to see Seth Rollins just claim squatters' rights and just stay in that house to next week's on SmackDown. Squatters' rights. I'm not going anywhere. It's my house now. But I don't think you'd ever get that. I don't think you'd ever get that.
Judging from Edge's phone call, Beth was out grocery shopping too, so that explains
good timing.
Was there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think this is amazing.
If I'm going to break into their house, I think I'm more worried about running into Beth than I am Edge anyway. Getting your ass kicked by her. But this whole thing just comes off as, I don't know. And I know you're going with creepy Seth and all this, but let's not forget, I mean, isn't this guy a new father himself? Yeah. So now he's going and stalking this other family.
Yeah. Twist in the tail, gentlemen. Elizabeth, according to Google, the first episode was the 29th of April, 1999, which I believe is the pilot episode. Neither Edge or the Hardys were on. I'm sure Edge was on it because that was the one we did the Freaks Come Out at Night promo. That's where that one came from. You sure? You sure?
Was it the very first SmackDown? Wasn't it all about The Rock? I mean, his show?
No, that's Rock Bottom. That's what you're thinking of, you know?
Well, the SmackDown, I mean, it was all named after him. So.
He would come out and say those promos and say it was his show because he used to say SmackDown, which he got from like Snoop Dogg or something.
Yeah. But I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. I'll have to look into that, dig deeper. But I was pretty sure that was that one. Yeah. But
chat, keep digging. Thank you, Elizabeth. But we're just a little confused here.
Yeah. But anyway, Edge called home just to find out they're all safe. Turns out they're grocery shopping. All is well. Seth will be at the house before they even get home. It's all good. Then the next segment. This didn't need to happen. It really didn't need to happen. This is such a fucking time waste. It's beyond the pale. It's supposed to be Carmella versus Liv Morgan. Well, as we're led to believe anyway. Carmella makes her entrance, comes out, fine. Liv Morgan comes out, makes her entrance, fine. Carmella leaves and says, "You're a bitch. You're not going to touch my face again." Then puts on a mask. Is it supposed to be like a protective mask? Is it supposed to be like, I don't know. All I know is that she tried to make herself look like a luchador from 1963. And I suppose job done. Great. Like,
I looked away for a second. I was like, is that El Santo?
Yeah.
Oh. No. El Santo with titties.
Yeah. El Santo. Oh, damn. But the thing is, right, Carmella put the mask on and then hit Morgan with an elbow and then hit her finish on her. Like, Liv Morgan totally flabbergasted by this mask. It's like, why? Why are you so like, oh my god, why are you wearing a mask? Oh my god, the mask. It's literally just a mask to protect her face. Just go about your business. The body's there. Hit the body. Hit the knees. Hit the leg. Anything. Nah, just stare. It was like Kane, but backwards. No one Kane took his mask off in front of RVD, and then Kane just smashed RVD. It was like that. Carmella puts the mask on. Liv Morgan doesn't know what to do. Smashed. Job done. Shite.
Well, there you have it.
There you go. Am I wrong?
Well, before I comment on that, I'd just like to say that in that previous segment, after Edge made his entrance, there was a recap.
Oh my!
Number 4.
Gentle.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. But this was, well, I mean, you basically covered it. I can't really add anything to it. Yeah, Rick.
It's there, in which was a lot of this show was just it's there. You know, we're waiting for picks, and that's pretty much the point of this thing. I did see that this feud that they've got going on, if you want to call it that, getting some heat on social media from your PC warriors that seem so offended that in 2021 women are fighting over looks. And I think that's probably the most interesting thing that you can get from this program.
Well, I wouldn't really say it's like they're fighting over looks. It's just Carmella's got an ego problem, isn't it? Like anyone could feel themselves and be like, yeah, I'm sexy. I'm the most. Of course, if you feel that way, you can say it. Fair enough. I think it's more for me anyway, the story is more the arrogance behind it. Like she's just acting like she's better than everyone else. Like you've got Liv Morgan who's supposed to be at the establishment.
That still exists in 2021. You know, people still act that way. And
yeah, it is what it is. That's what the story. I don't have a problem with it. There's nothing wrong with it, really, is there? It's just
I'm never really going to complain anytime Carmella's on my television screen. So,
oh no, not at all.
Liv. I mean, if you just want to parade pretty girls, it doesn't really matter what they do, I guess. But it is. I just find it humorous that you would take like of all the people that you had, that you would do this with Liv Morgan. It's like, oh, you're ugly, Liv Morgan. Like, you know, some of the other women you have under contract, right? That this could probably work a little bit better with if you want to get sympathy on them.
I mean. To be fair, they don't exactly have a 10 out of 10 record for those sort of storylines. I mean, I bring to you the case of Mickie James. We did that with, what's her names?
with Laycool.
Laycool, yeah. It's like,
well, you don't even have to go that far back. How about you just go to, over on Raw where they were doing this with, what's her name? That girl, the one?
So memorable. I genuinely can't remember, but then again, my Raw viewing hit the deck a while ago, so
that's fine. We can move on.
Yeah, let's move on. The New Day, the Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, and the Alpha Academy. A nice kind of quick-paced match. All things going on. Were the Street Profits drafted by this point? I can't remember.
I think they're in that second pool.
And in the second pool. Because for me, they look weirdly like their original attire from when they moved from NXT to Raw. Weird kind of thing I noticed about that there. Because they didn't have their usual bright blue or colourful ones. It was black and gold, which they've not worn in forever in a day.
Wow.
So, weird bit of information to bring up for that there. Montez Ford had his ribs strapped up, but it was absolutely meaningless as the match went on. Where am I going from this here? I've actually lost my way. Sorry, I'm looking at this. So it's kind of, he was taking over the match, working over Ford. Ford manages to get the hot tag on Dawkins. He does quite well to clear out the ring for that there. It was nice to see Otis back. Otis and Chad Gable for the first time in about 3-4 weeks. Actually having a match. Yeah.
Was it nice?
Well, they didn't do much, but for me, it's like this is a pair that could have done so much more with what the story and how they act and between the two of each other. Like Otis is this sort of emotionless monster, just trying to do the damage and get the win, even though they disqualified themselves.
Perfect casting for Otis.
Yeah,
that's exactly what you want. Take away everything that he does and just have him do none of that. See, that's what I'm talking about. This is the prime example when I bring up ideas of miscasting and how no one knows what the characters that these guys have tried to, build, maybe some of them starting in NXT, And then they come gift wrap to the main roster with their music and their gear and their characters and everything in hand. And then the Debbie's like, nah, none of that. But they did kind of want to go with Otis for a little bit. And they tried to, this is just my speculation. You guys tell me what you think, but they tried to rib Otis and Mandy by having them do that storyline. They was probably trying to rib Mandy more than Otis, but Mandy leaned into it and didn't sell it. And they did the best they could with it. And so for the people that were trying to rib him, it got boring. So they just squashed it out of nowhere and just, split them up, moved on, took Otis's Money in the Bank lunchbox away. And now they've relegated him to this, where he shows none of the charisma or entertainment ability that he was trying to, make his mark with the fans who seemed to be getting with him. And he also had to carry Tucker. Let's not forget that. What a waste of height that guy was. With all due respect. And so not only that, he's so Otis is doing everything he can to get himself over and with the albatross around his neck. And now it's just like, what is this? What are you going to do? And I bring up this point before. You make the excuse that you're trying to make these people marketable when you have Karrion Kross and his knockoff Lord Humongous Demolition, bondage, whatever you want to call that, whatever they're doing. So it could be an accessory for an action figure. And then now, but you take the marketability away from Otis. So what's your excuse with that? What can you sell the American Alpha as? How would you describe them without describing them? What would you say to get somebody that's not interested in wrestling interested in this team? How could you say they're marketable? You wouldn't. So that's where you can catch them in their talking out of both sides of their mouth when they make excuses for how shitty the product is.
Let me ask you this: you've been closer to the situation. Have you heard people that have kind of gotten that close to Vince, where they become that flavor of the month? Where that high is, and then do they realize that it could come crashing down at any time? How do they handle that? I mean, you got to look at someone like Otis, and it's that's someone that Vince probably is like, oh my God, I got it, pal. We're gonna do this, and it just seems just as quick as he jumps on top of it, how hot he is with it, he turns on it.
Yeah,
and I mean that's got to be pretty defeating and crushing to an individual. But you just got to keep, I guess, rocking and rolling, right? I mean,
Well,
have you seen that or you heard stories like that though?
Of course. If you've heard it, I've heard it. We've all heard it. The only problem is we don't know where to assign the blame sometimes because it's not always just a case of Vince. Vince is a lot more hands off of things than people think. And then he's a lot more hands on about other things that people wouldn't think. It's true, to a degree. Of course, I don't know, for a fact, as in I saw it myself. But we've all heard those stories from people about, he changes his mind, from week to week or whatever. So if my theory is correct that they're just trying to rib somebody, it could be him. Maybe Vince could have had something against Otis or Mandy Rose, or he thought that would be amusing, and when it didn't amuse him to the degree that he wanted to continue with it, then he cut it off. Or it could have been somebody else. It could have been Michael Hayes. It could have been a Bruce Pritchard. It could have been anybody who's also there and high enough to where they have some say in what goes on there. And Vince will just kind of go it's like, hey, well, I'm thinking about doing this. He's like, I don't care, whatever. If he's not interested, he might just let other people, play out their little petty games and stuff like that, and not worry too much about it. But this, again, that's all speculation. I really don't have any firsthand knowledge of that. But I mean, I just look at it like this: I don't put anything past anybody. How about that?
How much truth is there? We regularly hear, and I mean, he's always on this, but that everything there is they're ultimately testing, and you said a rib on somebody, that they're always trying to push you or break you, so that they they rule you.
It is that it's kind of and that's really I think, you know, there's always Tess and there's always Ribs, going back to the beginning of this whole thing that we call pro wrestling. But in the WWF, it seemed especially bad. Like from the time that Vince Jr. took over, like it sort of fostered like a very hostile locker room because of that perceived need to, you know, there's one guy that you have to impress. So whether that's like trying to get as big muscularly as you can, or to weed out some of the people that you perceive to be like not on your level, or things like that. It's I think it's better now, but there's still some remnants and some residue of that culture there. You know, it's at the end of the day, like the people that are all at the top are still old white men. So, but the thing about testing you, that is like, I would push back a little bit on that in the sense of like, who's passing? Test to what? I mean, to test somebody would mean that eventually you'd get somewhere. Nobody's getting anywhere anymore. It's really just it's just a kind of a thing where I really think it's just from person to person, rib to rib. Whenever you're done playing with your toys, you just move on to a different one. And then maybe through some backdoor luck or coincidence, they might end up doing something with you that they should have done from the beginning. Like if Bobby Lashley is today what he should have been right when he came back, or he should have been to the point that he never left, but he's got to run obstacle courses and bend over with Leo Rush and everything, you know, to get to that point, right?
But you're not supposed to remember that. Bobby Lashley put that tweet out the other day. He's like, I've been ruling Raw for 3 years. Might jump over. It's like,
we need some recaps to let us know like what he used to be doing with the sisters and all that. You know, we don't want to forget these things.
Oh yeah, that would absolutely kill him. If they did that on WBTV, the game's over for that year. But yeah, quite a quick match, quite simple. New Day hit the win. Nice little pair, nice show off that New Day, new team that's going to be on SmackDown. Well, new team as such, but you know, I mean, they've not been on SmackDown for a while, so it was a nice chance to showcase them. Maybe showcase a little bit of the Street Profits, Ziggler, Rude, Alpha Academy. We've not seen so much of recently. Good little match. Then I like the. Is there any more recaps coming up before I go to the Brock Lesnar segment?
I don't think so, or else I just stopped making notes of them. But I think we might be done with recaps for now.
Lovely. Nice little backstage segment here. Jeff Hardy about to do an interview before Brock Lesnar walks in, tells him he can shove off, he can go. Grabs the mic. He says, I'd like to thank my good friend, Paul Heyman, for arranging for me to now be a free agent. He really phoned in the whole Paul Heyman, my friend Paul Heyman. Who's negotiated for me that I'm a free agent so Brock Lesnar can do what Brock Lesnar wants to do. Mic drop. Brilliant. Cut to the backstage segment with Reigns and the Usos sitting there not very happy. Paul Heyman, poor wee lamb, by the way,
crying
his eyes,
crying and trying to hold it in.
I love it. I love to watch him do it. He's so good at what he does, but he's absolutely, and his eyes are red, like proper red. So he's been doing that for a good solid few minutes at least up before this segment's aired. Like he's put himself in a dark place. He's been reading up on his Stanislavski, if you will, and he's got so he's got into this. He's very upset. Reigns asked Heyman if Lesnar is his good friends, and what's of Heyman? I thought, are we friends? Are we not good friends? Like, you're my tribal chief. Like, that doesn't really answer the question, but okay. And Reigns gets annoyed, asking why Heyman's not looking out for him. This is where Heyman alludes to the fact that the Usos not being drafted tonight is because they're part of Monday's pool, and this is all part of a strategy to make this happen, and they should be getting drafted to SmackDown. Reigns orders Heyman to go to Raw to make sure this happens, and then as Heyman leaves, I forgot the part where Reigns was laughing at this, going, strategy. Strategy. What kind of strategy is that? He just really switched it up and got into Heyman's face. Like, he's not having a bad enough time, but he don't care about Heyman right now. But the mission is Heyman's to go to Raw to make sure the Usos get drafted to SmackDown. Usos are getting sent to Raw to make sure Heyman makes sure that the Usos get drafted to SmackDown. This is a weird line as well, though. If Heyman doesn't succeed, then the Usos are to leave Paul Heyman for dead at Raw. Like, is this some kind of barren wasteland that we're putting him into Raw? I mean, it kind of is, but put him into Raw and say, leave him for dead at Raw. Like, what's that really alluded
well,
to?
Karrion Kross is over there, so, like, you know, I could see them leaving him for dead in a barren wasteland and throwing bladed boomerangs over gasoline and stuff like that. Yeah, sure.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But is it is it just me, or is this actually alluding to the fact that we're splitting up Reigns and the Usos this soon? It seems laid out for that to happen.
Yeah, could.
I
I'm
mean,
fine with it. Do it.
I mean,
So we're just going to send. So now we got other champs just taking their titles and going back over.
Yeah. Does that mean we get RK Bro on SmackDown? That'd be weird. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean,
well,
cool.
I mean, not to get ahead of ourselves, but I mean, they were.
Oh no, they've been drafted.
They've been retained by Raw.
Yeah, they got kept by Raw, so never mind. So probably will be keeping the Usos then. Oh well. Suspension of disbelief has been erased. Ah, well. But I like that. I like this little storyline that's coming up with Paul Heyman. It's more centered around Heyman for the obvious fact that Heyman's been the advocate for Lesnar since 2002. Reigns is the family connection with Reigns' family and all of that. So it's nice. I'm liking how Heyman's doing the job here. Like, he's really put himself into this and thrown himself at this, and you can see the emotion on him. You see the strife and what he's doing. He's torn between both ends. And even when he's picked, it seems like he's picked a side. It seems like he's not managed to prove it enough yet, such as this point where he's picked the side of Roman Reigns and the bloodline, but there's always this little caveat of Brock Lesnar stirring the pot, keeping that going. So it's a nice little story.
I don't know how much of Stanislavski method Paul Heyman needs. He probably just needs to flash back to any number of times that somebody put him up against the wall in ECW asking for their money. Yeah, he probably told Taz, "You're my tribal chief," a few times. But yeah,
he's not going for his emotion memory or anything anytime soon. He's just Sandman with that cane and a beer. My fucking money. Like, okay. Yeah, no, good time. Anything you want to kind of add into that storyline? Very nicely played out storyline. Obviously leading into Crown Jewel. Strangely enough, for a pay-per-view as such, that doesn't tend to have a lot of meaning behind it most of the time. This is a storyline that seems to come in pretty strong. Crown Jewel.
I think I'm more intrigued now that we're talking about it than when I was watching it. But yeah, there is that little bit of intrigue now to tune in to Raw. Okay, are the Usos going to make a move? Maybe we get out of nowhere, they split the Usos up where only one of them goes or something along those lines. Or, it is a double cross by Heyman because the Usos have been kind of bullying him a little bit.
Yeah. Totally. It could actually happen, isn't it? Because that was the whole tease where could Heyman turn on Reigns to rejoin Lesnar? And if it happened, it could happen at Crown Jewel. Who knows?
Well, whatever's the least exciting and interesting option, I'm sure that's what they'll go with. So.
Without fail. Like religion. The worst one for that, yeah. I suppose we should close off the storyline wrestling side of SmackDown before we get to the actual good stuff. Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks, the rematch that from WrestleMania that we're getting on free TV with Becky Lynch dressed up as a cornflakes cockerel. I don't know if you noticed that there. I'm telling you now, if you get a picture from Becky Lynch from SmackDown, if you're watching this right now, get the picture from Becky Lynch from SmackDown last night. Then get the picture of the cornflakes rooster, and you can't tell me they look the same. You can't tell me they don't look the same. Exactly the same.
Does a cornflakes rooster have abs?
I'm not sure.
Or biceps?
Nah, they don't really show. They just show the top half of the rooster, to be fair.
Well, all right, I guess I can tell the difference then.
It's a modest cock, but
your point is taken, okay?
But
it's great. It's great. She's great coming out like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite nice to see her. I quite like some of her promo work on the commentary desk as well, when she's talking about, like, main reason why she's not having matches is because no one's paying her enough. They're not putting the money up to see the man. So what am I? She's really bigging that up a little bit. Like, oh, it's not my fault. I'm not wrestling. They're not putting enough money to see the man, and I've got a price. And so I liked how she's doing, and even disputing things where. It was Pat McAfee was talking about, like, Michael Cole says you nearly came close to losing the champ. Like, no, I didn't. She had you in the KOD where you're done. It's like, no, I got out of that before. Why would I not get out of it again? Good point. that was the other thing. They didn't even dispute it after she said, well, I got out before, so why would I not get out of it again?
I also like when he tells her to calm down, and she's like, don't tell me to calm down.
Yeah.
And because I thought the same thing. I was like, who the hell is Michael Cole to talk to a wrestler like that? You know? You should just defer to them at every moment and just be a little bitch like you are.
Yeah. And Pat McAfee was weirdly sort of like, not quiet, but he was a bit sort of on the fence. He's trying not to ruffle too many feathers, pardon my pun. But just sort of like, oh, well, she almost lost her championship. But he said it in such a way where he wasn't trying to get on her bad side. It always seemed like he was trying to stay on her good side while trying to be like honest about what happened at the same time. Where Becky Lynch retained her title. Becky Lynch came close, but that aside, though, it was a good match. Wasn't quite the WrestleMania match, but I don't know how to feel about it.
When I see, and even going back to the pay-per-view as well, what's so frustrating to me with this is when I look at Bianca Belair, and we were talking about making stars and all that, she is the one with the ultimate star power. And it just isn't a knock against Sasha or Becky, but Belair is ahead of them. But they continue to just downgrade her in these situations, which is so frustrating to me.
Yeah. Is this supposed to be like the Daniel Bryan effect where they're just going to push them down till it's just undeniable? The fan response is at its peak. The storylines are just edged towards it where they have to make it happen now. Is that where we're heading with that again? Do you think is that the approach they're trying to make?
I think a whole lot of it is we were talking about who's in charge. And it's a bunch of old white guys. They have no idea what to do with her. I mean, they got her out there, no matter what the situation is. She's out there shaking her ass, doing her little hair twirl, all that. She is a top-notch, legit athlete. And that needs to be the focus with her. She is a megastar if they would let her boom.
I mean, she is in a way the complete package. Everything that they want from her. Like, she's got the looks, she can talk, she's a personality that can go out into all these different things. I think she's done TV. Well, not done it, but like she's appeared on like Fox shows when they've covered things. She's an athlete. She was won an ESPY. She's got everything going for her. So there's no real reason why you need to hold her back. Let her flourish. Let her go out there and be a big name for you. Don't just rely on Becky Lynch, because Becky Lynch they learned a lesson when she was pregnant. Like, Becky Lynch isn't going to be there forever. Charlotte Flair's not going to be there forever. I mean, you need these people ready and waiting to go to take up the mantle now, rather than be in a situation where 4 years from now you're scrambling to find the next one. She's right there on a plate for you.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, though. The depth of the roster is such that she can only get pushed down so far by default. I mean, they're not gonna put her in like a main event type match or whatever. I'm talking about the show, not the status. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, as long as she's at or around the top, it really doesn't. What the heels say about her doesn't really matter. And the perception of her, I mean, the thing about you, the point you made about, her coming out and doing her full entrance no matter what's going on in the story. Well, kind of everybody does that. So I can't really put that on her or them. But those are like small details that need to get ironed out. There are crippling foundational problems that we have to address before we ever even worry about if somebody does their entrance on the entrance. As long as she comes out and gets down to business when she gets the mic, that's all people will really remember. But I mean, I think Bianca will be all right. You have to remember, she's not been doing this that long. So it's not a question of like, as big of a star as she is going to be, if you're one of those people that believes in paying dues, whatever that means, then you can make the argument that's like, well, she's already gotten everything. She's already been the champion. She can't go any higher than she's already been. They didn't even build that right. They completely shotgunned that. So now there's no chase to the title. Now it's the chase to title again, and that's not as interesting. So I think what Becky is doing on her end of it is she's really she's avoiding like trying to belittle Bianca, and she's really playing up the idea of like, you know, these kind of things happen. I'm the man, you know, like you're great, but you know, I'm just a little bit better, you know, and people will hear that and they'll, you know, the fans of Bianca will disagree because that's what you're supposed to do with the heel that's trying to push that narrative, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, she's not coming out here saying things like you didn't deserve the spot that you're in, you know, all the cliche heel things that heels are doing. She's being interesting with her own character without burying Bianca and still getting the people interested in seeing her shut Becky up, get the belt back.
I mean, we're getting so many mixed signals from Becky. How should we feel about her right now? I mean, she still gives the whole man entrance, but then she turns a little cocky. She turns that heel side. I mean, there's such gray areas here. And now you've got everything kind of confused with you introduce Sasha back into this little dance. Isn't the important thing is you want to easily define so your audience knows who the hell to get behind here?
I think that, well, now we've discussed on the Smack Attack several times and in whatever permutation of hosts that we have on here.
We've all had a go.
Yeah, that you know, Becky is so she's already at that beloved stage where they tried to turn her heel before and the people just refused, which is how the man sort of came around, pun intended, the first time. It's like they probably thought that she was going to be a full heel and the people were going to hate her, but they didn't. She's just made in that way. So I don't think that she can do any wrong when she gets to that certain level. So right now she's smart enough to be playing around with it a little bit. She's not saying things that are specifically heel or babyface, and it gives you room to, like, if you've always been a Becky fan, you don't have to throw your shirts in the trash. And if you didn't like Becky before, now you have a reason not to. I think it's more so like hedging your bets, I guess, is the best way you could put it. Yeah. I always think that it's easier for fans to have like a clearly defined black and white heel. I like my heels to have no redeeming qualities and that kind of a thing. But it just seems like they're doing things a little bit differently. So it just is what it is. I hate saying that phrase because it sounds like such a cop-out, but I mean, I think it's fine if you like Becky, which I do. I like what she's doing, but I'm looking at it just from her performing aspect too. Like, I'm not just looking at it as a fan. But she hasn't really given the fans of hers like a reason to turn on her.
Yeah.
Like a real reason. So
she sort of approaches this in a very satirical way. You know, she's wet. Like, there was a press conference she did when they were touring Europe, building up the European tour they're doing, and she was like, "What's a heel? When's this heel thing? Why are people not liking me? Why are they booing me? I mean, like, I'm not changed. I'm no different. I'm the champion. I'm doing," like, she said it. It was just sort of like, but you could hear the laughs from the journalists. It wasn't sort of like laughing at her, but it was like the appreciating the sort of entertainment value of it all. She was like, her comic timing was still there, and she was still having the laughs. She still, as you say, she had those man elements from her character before and how she does the entrances, but she's adding these little things, like it's very Conor McGregor-esque or very high-profile fighters who've got this ego and larger-than-life status about them. That's maybe the word I'm looking for, the larger-than-life side of things, where she's playing that up. Got the big fur coats, the silly sunglasses, all these things. She's very much like doing a PG Conor McGregor. It makes sense, in the sense that they're Irish and they're over. So you can like take some things and play around with that, because Conor McGregor has as many haters as he does fans. So he's not going to be any different. So Becky really shouldn't be any different. The only thing that Becky's really doing to push her over the fence is trying to avoid having matches. You know?
But she's not, so she's having fun with the chicken shit thing, and she's hiding behind the excuse of like, well, I don't think I should have to defend the title. I don't blah blah blah. Whatever she says, which is funny. As long as you're entertained, just do what you want, man. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole show's a shit. Just be entertaining. That's all I could ask for.
When it comes to the McGregor comparisons, and I always what Jargo says about it. I mean, the reason that we love Conor McGregor is because we want to pay to see him get punched in the face. Mm-hmm. And that's how I think that we should feel about Becky. And I'm I guess I'm one of those few people out there. I've never seen the appeal with her. I think she is the worst of the four horsemen, women. Sorry. I don't see. And the whole thing with the man was a piss poor, stone cold ripoff that they could get nowhere close to. The McGregor things, she's poor at that. She's a bad imitation and nowhere close to what those things were.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, well, the Marks said she was a stone cold ripoff. I don't know if I would want to throw my hat in with their opinions, but
I mean, you can sort of see like similarities.
You even had Stone Cold putting it over that. You remind me of me because they sat down and did that interview. She was on one of his sessions there.
Yeah.
Well, Stone Cold endorses
I just never bought into anything.
No, because no. The thing with Becky, the reason that she's as popular as she is, I think, with the fans, is because they see themselves in certain people like as authentic fans of the product. Like if you feel like you have a kinship with wrestling fans, if you have that connection with complete strangers or whatever, you're a real fan, not just a fair weather fan or whatever, but you're a real wrestling fan and you've been a wrestling fan. You see people like Becky, you see people like another perfect example. Why are they so over? Like Bryan Danielson, he's another one. Like they perceive him to be an authentic fan that is doing this at the highest level that he can. There's certain people like that it's just kind of hard. And then the guys like some of the guys that struggle a little bit, like Roman, in certain aspects of like they were kind of with Roman to a point. And then when they were getting force fed, that's when they started to regurgitate a little bit. Because people forget it's like revisionist history, but they were totally with Roman for quite a bit. And then they started to push too far and the people started rejecting. And they made Roman look bad on several occasions of things like famously the Royal Rumble that he was in where he he supposedly got jumped. He got jumped by what was that? The League of Nations or something. And then he on his own power, he went to the back, and missed a huge chunk of the Rumble, which that makes you look like a piece of shit. That's like what a heel would do. Like I'm gonna leave the match. They thought in their mind like, oh, I'll come back strong and be like, look, I fought through my injuries and stuff and made a super comeback. That's what the booking was thinking.
In their mind, they're thinking this is gonna be like a Mick Foley moment, but that was authentic.
Right. And instead it was like, man, this guy's a pussy. He won't even fight right now. And he can walk out of here on his own power. You should have to stretcher this guy out if he wants, you know what I mean? Like, so little things like that they would do that hurt him. But overall, I think a lot of people also know that, his football career didn't pan out. So I guess I'll be a wrestler because I have a wrestling dad, that's been the case of a lot of guys.
It's funny you mentioned that because, a lot of people, it's all that perception of, well, they're here because they love it. Some of the biggest names ever in professional wrestling, this wasn't their choice. They fell into it. The Rock,
and
Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold.
Sure.
They kind of fell into pro wrestling.
Sure. And, but at least, but Steve Austin was a fan and people could feel that. Like when you grow up a fan and you've loved it for a certain period of time, somehow that comes through and reaches people. It's not always in a tangible way, but it happens. And seeing Becky since she showed up in NXT and watching her progression through there, like, is she the best at anything? No, but she's got that connection with the people. And I just think that's what you're seeing. If you want to pick her apart on like specific aspects and stuff, you could certainly do that, but she's got the intangibles, I guess, and she keeps trying and she keeps, even at this stage, she keeps improving. Like her promos now are like volumes better than they were before, and I didn't think they were that bad before. But now she's really comfortable because she's had that time off to think about it. Like, what am I going to do when I get back? And, you know, you just somehow come back better. So I look forward to everything that she's going to do from here on now. I've been a Becky fan. I'm not going to apologize for it. To answer your question, or even if you didn't ask the question directly, but I think that's what the people are seeing in her. They see the authenticity of her fandom and what she's worked through to get there.
The way you explain it makes a ton of sense because it's across the board. It's just not in professional wrestling. It's in all of sports. You know, there's guys like a Peyton Manning who we just love. There's a Tom Brady who he just has kind of that heelish heat on him.
He's too pretty. God damn it.
Hell, politics, you know, going back to President Bush, what was the big argument? He seems like a guy I could drink a beer with.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah, and that's about all you could do with him because
the
man's a moron. But nonetheless, Becky, thumbs up.
Yeah. So
I guess I can rearrange my women's draft then because I don't think RBV will be picking her very high.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I'll probably let her slip down a few notches. Okay.
Yeah. Stick around. Our main event is coming up very, very soon. We'll just close off the Smackdown review then quite quickly then. End of the match, Bianca Belair gets thrown into the ring, bumps into Becky Lynch, who have a sort of jaw jack between each other. Bianca tries to grab Becky Lynch from inside the ring, grabbing Becky Lynch is outside the ring. Becky Lynch leans on her ponytail, which is brilliant. Just sort of like, and then but Sasha Banks gets the win over Bianca Belair. And then out of nowhere, Charlotte Flair comes in and clears house. Takes out Sasha Banks, takes out Bianca Belair, stands tall holding the Raw Women's Championship in the middle of the ring, while Becky Lynch holds the SmackDown Women's Championship on the announce table. Maybe setting something up down the line for that. There's quite an interesting ending to the show. Maybe just teasing maybe the switch over. Charlotte takes over SmackDown, Becky Lynch takes over Raw, maybe. Or maybe this is the start of them clashing at Survivor Series or even a unification match, which could be fun. I mean, the women's division isn't the most stacked division. If you're going to unify a championship, may as well be that one. What do you think?
Yeah. I think I don't think there should be so many titles. I heard Billy Body saying something about them having like kicking around the idea of having like 5 or so people that are not brand specific that can go back and forth. Those would be like the bigger stars like the Roman Reigns that can just, you know, get the pass to move as they see fit. And it, you know, like he was talking about them throwing that idea around in the sense of like the people that are the most over. And I'm like, yeah. And why don't you make those people hold all the belts that you have? That would solve, you know, if they're the most over, shouldn't they be the champs? And then if you're the champs, we don't need 2 sets of tag team champions. We really don't. We don't need 2 mid-card singles. We don't need, you know what I mean? Like, let's condense that down a little bit and get, you know, just 3 or 4 different, you know, belts that you got. If you want to keep that shitty 24/7 thing, go ahead and keep that its own thing. But like, nobody ever grew up, you know. When you talk about guys growing up wanting to be the champ, like Triple H or something, he wouldn't have said, you know, someday I want to grow up and be the champ of Raw. Like, you don't think of it like in those terms. You want to be the guy, and you can't be the guy if there's 2 guys. So just some stuff I've always been pushing for them to address. And it's as good a time as any now to do it. You can make the championships mean more, and then you can have those guys that you want to go back and forth and have that hall pass. That belt can be your hall pass. That's kind of how I think
it's funny you say that. Like, you never hear anyone, you know, like Patrick Mahomes saying, "Hey, and I always dreamed of winning the AFC Championship."
Yep. That's where I stopped right there. I did, whatever happens after that, I can take it or leave the Lombardi
That's
trophy.
just a bonus. That's just, I just want it to be the AFC champ. Screw your Super Bowl. You know?
Yeah. Doesn't happen.
Not at all. Does not happen. Anyway, speaking of the rosters, let's get into the draft. Not quite our one yet, but we'll get quickly into the first night of the draft. Some interesting moves, if some were a bit predictable than others. Do you want me to just kind of just go through it round by round, and we can do a quick feedback on it. It's just 4 rounds, so 4 rounds of 5 talents getting moved. The first one's pretty straightforward. Going to SmackDown was Roman Reigns and Charlotte Flair, and then moving to Raw was Big E and Bianca Belair. Be interesting that Bianca Belair got picked over Becky Lynch, but at the same time, we've just talked about Bianca Belair's
Becky's in the other pool. Becky's in the other.
Is that where she is? Aha. Okay.
Remember, they did a poor job of explaining to it, and you'd already forgotten it since we talked about it at the top of the show. So
exactly.
Maybe you needed a recap.
Do we need a recap in our own show? Recap the recap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, in the truck, guys, can we get this on?
Clip it, guys. Guys in the chat, clip it.
But straightforward picks. None of them out of the ordinary. No, not a big smack. Not a lot of these were massive shocks as such. It's hard to kind of be up and excited for this one. It's a few rounds in, or maybe the second round actually is a bit of a surprise coming down for the Raw end of things. Round 3 is probably where the biggest surprise of the whole thing came up. Round 2, Drew McIntyre and the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods made their way over to SmackDown, which is a bit weird for the New Day, but there you go. RK Bro and Edge swap over to Raw. Edge alluded to it obviously in his promo earlier on. He's looking forward to going to Raw. But deep into the storyline with Seth Rollins, is this the right time to move him? I suppose it depends on how things go on the draft run on Raw.
Well, my answer to that is who cares? Because Seth Rollins showed up at his house, so he could certainly show up to a different show. Yeah. Also, he's going to get drafted to Raw, so be prepared for that.
That's a shame. I've been really enjoying Rollins doing his stuff on SmackDown for this.
Too bad. Too bad. You get Drew McIntyre now, your countryman.
I'll take it. I'll take Drew. I'm happy.
He's gonna kill somebody with a sword, guys.
Yeah.
Angela, the sword. He's gonna kill somebody. We do that in the WWE now. We Goldberg says he's gonna kill somebody. Drew McIntyre's swing a sword around like a madman trying to kill Indian people. This is outrageous.
Well, you got to up the ante with AEW now. You had Arn Anderson over there threatening to blow people's brains out.
Yeah, so, Arn Anderson.
It's a very violent world.
He came up with a hypothetical scenario. Drew McIntyre chased men and swung that sword at him. What if he did? What if they didn't get away? What if he cleaved a guy in half on live television in front of kids?
We've got home invasions and beheadings. Welcome to WWE. Yeah. Welcome to the universe.
Yeah, that's it. But PG.
It's
PG.
PG. Total safe for kids. Round 3.
I also don't like the New Day thing, because this is what they did before. Like they split the New Day, even though they can draft teams and stuff. Yeah. So the New Day has traditionally always gone as a trio. And then they split Big E off, and we know that the shoot reason why is because they wanted to get a singles push for Big E. We're gonna make Big E a big single star or whatever. And it's like, I don't really see why they're mutually exclusive things. Yeah. The New Day always works as a group, and they can always split off and do their own things. It's not like.
And again, this is where it'd be makes sense to let us know who's making these picks. Mm-hmm. I mean, who in their mind said, we'll just keep Big E. We'll just retain him. Why not retain the whole damn group of stars?
Right. There are no rules.
You've missed a trick.
They just make up whatever they want at the time.
One of the great things of intrigue you had going for you on Raw, we just saw start to play out on Monday, is the New Day versus the Hurt Business. That was something of interest that was going to bring people back, and now you immediately are squashing that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go from picking 2 when you could have had 3 to later in this night of drafting.
And now you introduce a whole
4 people in one pick. so they not really thought this through. They fully missed the trick. I'm alluding to round 3, of course. Happy Corbin and Mad Corbin and Moss got paired up for this draft. The fuck is that? Anyway, we got paired up. Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash got drafted as a pair. Keith Bearcat Lee or Bearcat. Was it Bearcat?
It's a beer cat. It's a cat that drinks beers.
I'm rocking I got actually my Bearcat gear on today. I have a Bearcat here. You see, it's our mascot.
You know him well, so
Rick, what's a Bearcat? Is it a bear or a cat?
Or neither.
It's half man, half bear, half pig. Actually,
he's super serial.
it is a weird little animal, but the whole nickname was derived for the university here as going back in the day when they actually had a feud with Kentucky. So they're the Wildcats. So what could beat a Wildcat? So they just Bearcat. So that's where the hell the name came from.
Weird.
All right.
I like it. I'll take it.
Well, that's the shits, but whatever.
That's the story.
Let's give it to Keith Lee then and finish him off once and for all.
Yeah, my God, that's going to be painful for him. But he stays on Raw. And then the biggest one, the biggest draft of the night, dare say, Hit Row. Isaiah Swerve Scott, Ashanti Thee Adonis, Top Dollar, and B-Fab. All four of them make the move to SmackDown from NXT. Vet, you're well versed in NXT and the talents that are there and coming up. How big a move is this for SmackDown? How big a move is this for Hit Row? They've had a great run on NXT.
Man, guys, I'm so excited because as we were talking about those old white men earlier, I just can't wait to see what they do with a rap group of wrestlers. That's going to be absolutely fabulous.
That's one of the things I've always wondered is, do black people talk like that?
Well, this is a debate that we've been having.
I am an old white guy here, so I'm not diverse into their culture. I'll admit that. It just seems like when I hear them on NXT, and I know you guys talk about it on Next Level all the time, it's like, do people really talk like that?
They might have at one time, but as we've been discussing this on NXT Next Level show for
excuse me for a moment, gents.
Yes, quite a few weeks, and I think on this latest episode I said something like its slang is kind of like tech, where right when you think you've got the best new piece of hardware or whatever, it's already obsolete because they come out with something else. So like I feel like Hit Row's coming from 8 months to a year behind, and they sound like the one white guy in the sitcom writers room, that's on one of those shows, but I don't know, man. I mean, they're doing their thing. I will say that
I enjoy the group. I think they're great talents. I like the direction with them. It just seems that like they're over pushing it at certain times.
It's a wrestling problem. Like if you notice how a lot of have you noticed this, Rick, where a lot of guys will do their promo so that certain lines of the promo will punch and get like a pop reaction from the audience, and it's a lot more noticeable when the audience doesn't pop because it's not that great of a line, but you hear them wait for that, like sometimes or like when when they, now that they've discovered swearing, they like to drop those lines like bloodline bitches. And they say it like that, like, so they wait for the people to go, oh, he said bitch, like that kind of a thing. Like, whereas if you just casually dropped it the way you would in real life or something, the people will get with it either way. But like when you do that wrestling promo punch, it's just corny. And I think a lot of Hit Row stuff has that a little bit. I think they should just be a little more conversational. But this could go from like, this could go back to the whole like not having faith in your audience thing, and like almost having to basically spell it out like and slowly just to make sure everybody heard what you said. Yes, bloodline bitches. Okay, I got it. Okay. But yeah, so it's an interesting move. I wonder, these are the kind of things I wonder, like who made it, like who said, I want these guys.
Now is the North American Championship coming to SmackDown? I mean, what do we do there with Swerve?
It had better. Just inexplicably a new title on the brand. Just, This is where it is now.
Yeah, what they normally
deal with
do,
NXT.
Yeah, well, I suppose what they normally do is they have them pull double duty until they drop the belt, don't they? Because that's sort of the way with NXT just now. So
maybe, but he's on SmackDown right now, and I don't even know if he's got a match lined up for that belt.
Oh, who knows? But we'll see how they go. But it's quite nice to see them back up, but see them make the move up, and it could be the first of many moves for NXT. There was the expectation that quite a lot of NXT talents will be making the move up now with this whole NXT 2.0 initiative, or what do you want to call it. A lot of talents that were pillars of NXT are now going to be surplus to requirements. So about time to move them up. And let's see them get the carrying cross treatment one by one, painfully, slowly.
Oh, yes. Yes, the main
Like
roster is where
Chinese
all your
water
favorite
torture.
NXT acts go to die.
They really do. They really, really do. It's heartbreaking for that. Even the ones that die and come back to life, they'll get beaten down to a pulp and ruined for you there. We'll finish off this night's draft before we do our own. Round 4, nothing really spectacular. Actually, I tell a lie. Naomi gets drafted to SmackDown, which Sonya Deville said it wasn't her decision to make. It was never her decision. Yeah, it's never your decision in the first place, but okay. I find it weird. What would happen if she said
now we
she
know
went
the
to Raw?
GMs don't make the picks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what would she have said if she went to Raw? Because surely Sonya Deville's in charge of both shows, surely. So it wouldn't have mattered. As long as she got drafted, she's got the same problem. So, weird, but okay.
And no matter in what world right now, and if we're looking at this from a kayfabe position, no matter who's available in the pool, who the hell takes Naomi right now?
Good point. Fox, apparently. Fox, apparently. You say about that. How about the next pick for Raw? Rey and Dominic Mysterio went to Raw as a pair, surprisingly.
Yeah, again, that goes back to the New Day thing. Why do they get to be a pair just because they're related?
Yeah, easy. Jeff Hardy got drafted to SmackDown, instantly mugged off by Brock Lesnar. But I like to see it. His status on the totem pole has been established within a matter of minutes while he was on the show. And the last move, a return to WWE Raw, is Austin Theory. He'll be back on screens on the red brand for the first time since the beginning of the pandemic era, I believe, since Rollins' Disciples broke off. So, nice to see him make the move. I don't know what he's going to do on WWE Raw. I don't know what he's going to be there for, but...
He was already there and we all forgot, and now we're supposed to...
Yeah. Now going through this draft, I'm a little bit deflated about it. It's like...
Yeah, now that you look at it, it's terrible, right?
Oh, God, it is actually poor. Once you get... Apart from Hit Row, once you get past round 2, at best, you're like, all right, okay, whatever.
Because we know as fans that they have no plans for any of these people. We also know that as shows, they have no identity. The identity of these shows is one is 3 hours and one is 2 hours. That's their identity.
Yep.
So just shuffling people around makes no difference whatsoever. And as you've seen in the past and what you're going to see here is that you think feuds are going to break up and new ones will start, but a lot of people will just follow to the other show and continue it. Like I said with the Seth Rollins thing, just watch him go to Raw. Just watch it. Even if he doesn't, that's not going to stop that because he's already shown that he's willing to document a crime to go after Edge. So nothing's going to stop him. But I just want to say real quick, Cujo, I see you in the chat, man. You are hitting home runs.
Yeah,
one after the other. We just can't put them all over, but I see you, man. I see you. Yeah.
But no, any closing thoughts on their draft right now? Is there anything really we can say we're excited about before, or do we still have to wait for Monday to play out before we can really make a proper judgment on how these rosters are looking out?
I'm going to say overall, for WWE, and being a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I've been greatly disappointed during many drafts. But WWE is probably set the new standard for lows.
That nailed it on the head then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right then, I'll tell you what, let's have a bit of fun then. We're finally got to this point. We got through the painful part. We got to the bit that you, the viewer, have been waiting for, that I've been plugging since last night, and we've been looking forward to getting to this here. It's showtime, boys. It is time for the inaugural Smack Attack draft. And here it is. The draft board. 20 spaces to be filled. A shitload of WWE superstars from top to the very bottom. I've got the whole list here. I'll show you. I don't know if you can see me scroll down here, but I have marked out this list. So we've got the entire roster of Raw as of this past week before the draft last night. We've got the roster of SmackDown on hand. We've got the NXT 2.0 roster all here. A very chunky roster. And for bonus points, NXT UK. Everyone is fair game. You can have the superstars that you like. You can draft them in any order. The only rule, I forgot to ask this while we're all fair, so I'll ask it now. I was going to suggest that you can pick teams, but you can't pick stables. But I suppose the way WWE are running their draft, I'd feel a bit unfair for me to maybe stop you from picking a stable, because it sounds like you may have been missing a trick. What would be the thought on that there?
Yeah, I'm not gonna want a stable. I don't think. But
Okay.
if dude, it doesn't matter. If you want to pick New Day as a whole 3 guys, then go ahead. If you want to pick Hit Row as a group, fine.
You know,
there aren't that many stables really.
We keep
there are
talking
barely
about,
any tag teams.
We keep talking about that New Day. You know, the logic. Why didn't he take all 3 of them? Why does Heyman even have to go to a Raw to make sure the Usos don't get drafted? Why didn't they just take the Bloodline?
Yep.
Well, I suppose they're on different pools, so you couldn't take them as a whole. They made they
But
shot
why are they?
themselves in
But
the
he's
foot with their own rules.
Why are they
Right.
in different pools? You know what I mean? Why?
Hoisted by their own petard.
Yeah, it's just it's if Big E and Kofi and Woods are in the same pool, then they should be able to be drafted especially if you're going to draft a foursome from NXT.
If it made any sense at all, it wouldn't be pro wrestling.
Got a point there. He's got a point.
Very, very good. Okay then. So, have we decided who would like what roster? Raw, SmackDown for that there.
I think James. I think you should assign the rosters, and since you want to sit out, you're gonna have to be the arbiter now. Okay, you're gonna have to make the hard decisions. And,
I'll be arbiter of your own demise.
and you're also gonna have to decide which of us gets to draft first.
Yeah,
I would defer. I would defer and give Rick the first pick though, if it's up to me.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to do that if you're okay with that. There, I was thinking, Rick, you could have Monday Night Raw since you are a stalwart of the Monday Night locker room, and Vet, since you've been a part of the Smack Attack for so long, I'd put you on the blue brand. How would that be for that there?
Makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense. Okay, and if you're in a ideal world, you defer to Rick. I'm happy to let you do that as well. I'll let you defer. Rick, you can have the first draft pick. You've got the list. We've had the list in front of you since last night. Everyone's fair game. You can, since we're okay with the stables, you can take your stables as and how you wish. You may have to give me a second. We'll do it in rounds of 5. So we'll do the first 5 picks each, and then we'll kind of do a quick recap, and then we'll do the next 5.
Now, James, do we have to draft this whole fucking roster? I don't want these people.
Well, we've got 20 spots, right?
20 spots.
Okay.
We've got 20 spots. Right. You can fill it as and how you like. Yeah, you've taken over. It's your philosophy, how you look at the show. I mean, fuck it. If you really were a sneaky bastard, you could hijack a couple of world champions before the other person, guys. I don't know how you want to do it. This is what the fun of the show is. Everyone's fair game. You can book them as and how you please. Okay. Shall we just get stuck into it then? Rick, would you like to give me your first pick?
Well, got over in the chat here. Nobody worth remembering. I went ahead and made my first selection for me. I am going with the Beast, Brock Lesnar.
Lesnar. That is a
he
massive...
said Cesaro. Rick drafts Cesaro.
No, I just
put that down.
Brock to Raw. Brock to Raw.
Brock to Raw. Brock Lesnar is making his way over to the red band back. Oh shit, my things just went nuts. Hang on, bear with me here. Can you still see the draft list there, boys?
Yep.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want to see. So Brock Lesnar. Just fucking Control C for cutting. Have I got to install copy paste before I can fucking do that? Nah, fuck this. I'll just type it in. Bullshit.
Yeah, type it in. We ain't got time for this.
Brock Lesnar has made the move to Monday Night.
Hey, this is still more organized than the actual WWE draft, so we're all right.
Yeah. True point.
Okay, righto. Vet, who are you?
All right, I'm on the clock.
Your first pick.
I think this pick is very obvious. I'm taking Moose. Moose to SmackDown.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's not even on the list.
He's not?
No.
Hold on. Let me scroll again.
Is he? If he's
sure he's not at NXT UK?
I'm positive.
Pretty sure he's down at NXT UK.
He had
on 205 Live? No?
Nah. He's a bit big for that.
All right. Well, if I'm taking a first pick. I guess, am I going to have to just take the tribal chief right off the board, even though I don't really want him? Just so that RBV doesn't end up with a better roster than me? All right, I'll do it.
Okay,
I don't want him,
it is.
I don't really want him.
Are you going with the whole bloodline or just the chief?
Yeah, I didn't even want the chief, but I'm certainly not going to take the cousins. Yeah, just Roman. Just Roman for now.
Yeah, Roman. And we're going to go Brock Lesnar for the first round picks. Okay. Rick, pick number 2.
I'm going to go with all 3 members of the New Day.
Wow.
Oh, shit. Mother.
I thought that's where you were going to go with that first pick.
No.
Yeah, it's going to make a big note, Big E.
I do love the New Day, though.
WWE champion. So you got your first champion. Also a shitload of H's.
Yeah. I'm definitely not going to be basing my draft around champions. I'm just taking the dudes like if I'm starting from scratch.
Yeah. Okay. So good first, interesting first couple picks. Interesting. I'll give my opinion on those ones, but
well, I mean, I better get what's that guy's name? Bobby Lashley. Should I do that?
ooh,
I got to pick 20 people, so I got to get some of these other guys I wouldn't have even considered off the board first. Yeah, give me Lashley.
Bobby Lashley, former WWE champion, has made the move. For some reason, this keeps coming up as
Nobody worth remembering wants me to draft Ric Flair. No, I don't think I'll be taking him.
no one needs that controversy on their show right now. Bobby Lashley on SmackDown. Then
Yeah,
Keyboard,
you
please
stole my WrestleMania main event there.
Maybe we'll work out a deal if you get somebody that I don't. Now I assume
What do
that
you
we're
say,
mixing
guys?
women into this, right? Because
Absolutely, it's as I say, everyone's fair game. There's no obligation of when and how you pick them. You just have to pick them, so you can do whatever you like there.
shit. Well,
So
well,
bear in mind, if you
I
don't
just
pick
like
someone-
focusing, like like I said, my original draft that I did on my old show, I picked 10 people from anywhere, or 10 men from anywhere and 5 women, and I broke it up just so that it'd be easier to concentrate on, just those. But this is fine. This is fine.
Yeah. Oh no, we're playing prison rules here, my friend.
People are,
I'm gonna I'm gonna go for that first big pop. Maybe reaching here, but like the vet said, we're rebranding. We are growing forward. I gotta find that star power. I'm gonna go with you better not call him Steiner. I'm going with Mr. Braun Breaker.
Wow.
I don't know who that is.
I
I've
am-
never seen him before.
Bear with me.
But
forgot
I hear
how
that
to
Rick Steiner has
spell
a
his
son
name.
somewhere. So
How do you spell his fucking name? I'll put it on the list as well. Braun. Oh, is it O-N? That's such a dumb way to spell it.
I know
Almost
that
like you should call him Steiner.
you can put Steiner on there.
Oh yeah, he's getting relabeled under RBV Raw. So,
Right,
but
right. Yeah, we
Appreciate
reserve the right. Are you sure Moose isn't on here anywhere? Because Wikipedia is not. Anybody can edit this thing.
I mean, last I checked, he was on Impact, but okay.
Oh, okay, all right. He said okay. I
Well,
draft Moose.
can you just take Titus O'Neil and start calling him Moose?
No, you really can't. Have you seen Titus
don't
O'Neil?
I'm liking some people are really getting into it in the chat here. I'm liking it. Some good,
I know
good
they're
ideas coming
yelling at me who to get. But it's not just about who to get. It's about who to take away from the other guy.
in. Yeah.
That's what it's about. And if I know, for example, that he has no love for Becky Lynch, I can let her drop way down. And then I know that if he picks her before me, it's only to spite me.
Or was
this is it. It's
was
gotta be
that
some
my
tactical
evil? Was
picks.
that my evil plan the whole time? Is to
Right.
badmouth certain people so that the vet thinks I'm staying away from him?
He was setting it up.
I mean, hey, everyone knows my my love for Charlotte Flair. I mean, I've been tempted 3 times to pick her here, but I'm going to let her slide a little bit.
I mean, I'm
Let
just
her
kind of.
slide.
He's
Let
put it on the
her
plate there for you. I think.
I'm gonna go with a nice Oh boy. I'm thinking. AJ Styles.
Wow, that's a big one. AJ Styles onto the blue brand for
He's
the
the
vet.
best. He's the best, or arguably one of the two best in the entire company. And I can't risk him not being on the board.
Yeah. So, pick number 4, Rick. What are we feeling?
I am going to go with RK Bro.
There is RK Bro, the Raw Tag Team Champions. A nice 2-for-1 deal as well.
So, Cujo's chastising me for not getting almost 2, but it's like I still don't even think of that as like a tag team. You're right. I could be getting free guys on my.
This is it. So far, Rick's getting the bang for buck out of his roster here. You got Brock Lesnar.
You've left a lot on the table. I mean, you could have had.
He's got 7 guys at the 4 picks here.
You could have had Cedric and Shelton and almost with.
He doesn't want the Hurt Business. Wow.
I don't want.
I mean, you got MVPs in there as well, surely. So that would have been 4.
Yeah. Yeah, does that even count? Like, am I drafting MVP anyways, even with Bobby Lashley? Like, do I even have to declare it? I don't know.
Well, technically he's inactive, so I don't know how that works. But,
inactive? I mean, he had a match like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I think that's when he broke it. Was that how he done his leg or fractured a bone in his leg or something? That's what Wikipedia tells me, that he has like a surgery coming up now on his leg after that. But that could have just been storyline reason. For all I know, that
I'm sure that's probably what it is.
But anyway, yeah.
But I'm on the clock. Okay, Orton's off the board. Who else do I got here? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab him now.
Like where this is going.
He's not a Bearcat. He's limitless. He's Keith Lee.
I feel like you could do a lot of wonders with Keith Lee on that roster there.
That's really good. I would.
So I've got a nice little balance from your roster so far. Nice little bit of work rate going on. But with your main event meatheads there, Roman Reigns and Bobby Lashley. Rick, what you thinking? How you feeling? What you got in front of you there?
I think I'm going to go with Killer Cross.
Wow. I'm telling you guys, these are. What's his name? It's not Killer Cross, it's Karrion Cross, isn't it? I'll put him in as his official name. You know, it should be Killer Cross. I'm sorry if you're watching this, Killer. I really am.
Make it official.
And I'm also gonna loan him out to our relaunch of American Gladiators, and he's gonna be one of my gladiators.
Sonic wants Drew McIntyre. I don't like him.
What?
I don't like him, and I'm not taking him. I'm telling you right off the bat, RBV, if you want Drew McIntyre, you can save him for 20. I will not draft him.
Oh my god.
No chance.
But will you take the sword?
I might. Ooh. Well,
I'm ready to call
I might draft the sword and accept Drew McIntyre as a team. You know, like as a tag along, but
Jesus. I'm ready to call this draft now. He's
done. It's over. Goodbye, everybody. At Opinion Haver on social media.
How dare you?
This is
Media 5 M5 throwing a big one at you.
Yeah,
do you like him,
dude? See, that's the thing, though. I can talk. I have to talk out loud to make this entertaining, you know, as a podcast, because my thought process here is I don't know that Sheamus needs to go that high, because I don't know at this point whether Rick likes Sheamus that much. So even though I want Sheamus, I'm like, you know, I'm balancing here. Trying to think who else is really good. But
I had Sheamus down on my list, but I think he is probably one of the top talents in the company. He's one of those guys that you could drop in any promotion, any era, and he works.
You're right, and he's good, but. And even though this doesn't matter because this is a fantasy land and we're not necessarily going by like real world things, but like Sheamus has done everything and they've seen it all with him and he's going to need some rehabilitation. So I don't know. The good thing is that I don't really care about anybody in NXT, so that takes a lot of useless people off the board. And one of the guys that I was interested in already got took, Rick Steiner Jr. So
I'm glad we're all on the same wavelength for this, because he was actually when I was originally the original plan I was going to be like one of the drafters. He was there. I was kind of thinking I could get him in at like the bottom end of my picks as a sort of wild card pick. So I'm quite refreshed that we're all on the same wavelength with Braun Breaker, with Steiner. I quite like that.
Yeah, dude, come on. You have to be a blind, deaf idiot to not get what's up with him. But
yeah.
All right, it's time for a lady now.
Yes,
and it's gonna be I'm taking Tony Storm.
Wow.
Give me Tony.
Very undervalued, underrated talent on the roster just now. Tony Storm. Recently engaged.
How dare you?
Yeah, she just got engaged, right? That broke yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right, delete Tony Storm. We don't want any Juice Robinson heat over here.
Oh, no, you've committed. She's yours now. Right, so first women.
Wow,
that's a statement.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and lock her down.
That was the time, Rick.
It's Char time.
Charlotte Flair. Why is this coming in purple?
I can actually say that on this show. Hameen's banned me from saying on the Monday Locker Room, but yeah, Charlotte, Char.
Why is
my precious Char?
The WWE Raw Women's Champion.
She all right. She eventually settle on a face that people like.
Hey, going back this past week at Raw, a good friend of mine was working security backstage. He's works for the Cincinnati Police Department, and his position. This was pretty cool. He was right at Gorilla. That's where he was at. And he said that it was like Charlotte was running the show back there, and she was just running around in like a bikini the whole time, going back and forth. So
what? Her gear?
Well, I guess she wears that under the gear. So she wasn't completely suited up yet. And going back to it, he said Keith Lee was sitting there for a while, and he was probably the most personable and nicest one that he got to interact with.
Oh yeah, I can imagine it being that. That's really good. I can see them being like that way. Surprised you didn't faint when you got told that about Charlotte Flair, though. Really, I'm surprised. Fair play. Pick number 6. Bet a lot of people were throwing some names at you right out the gate.
Yeah, they want Rhea Ripley, but do I need Rhea Ripley right now?
I mean, you can get it as a 2-for-1 with Nikki Cross.
I don't want that. I don't want that. People are going to judge me based on my value, I think, too.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with losing if that's the only reason I lost is because Rick took more dead weight on his side.
I don't know, because there's a lot to work with on that roster so far. I know we're only 6 picks in, but he's got some.
My main strategy is the markability.
Yeah.
Can I sell these people to an audience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can easily turn around Karrion Kross if you book him right. You really can.
Yeah, well, you just have to take off a couple of accessories, and right off the bat, he's already 100 times better.
Exactly.
All right. Now, see, here's another one where, like, I don't want the dead weight, and I'm still going to turn it down. I'll just take the one guy. But this is going to be a left fielder. Give me Walter.
Oh, nice.
I like that. I like that pick.
Nice.
I better write it properly. Walter.
I don't want Eichner and Bartel. I have no use for guys like that.
No, I think I was going to make that same pick if I was on the picking side, so I totally get you. Walter is the big man on that one, so really good choice for SmackDown. A lot of work rate going on in SmackDown right now. So, pick number 7. We're really starting to get into the juicy end of the draft here. Some big names we've totally jumped over here so far, which I'm interested in. Normally when I see these things, a lot of people go for the bigger names out the gate. So this is quite fascinating to see you guys kind of take a big name early, maybe one or two, and then just start filling up from the middle, which is quite a nice way to go.
Again, I go back to that marketability. A guy who's a great talking head, a great representative. I'm going to go with The Miz.
Ooh, okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with being from Ohio or thereabouts, does it?
Hey, last time I saw The Miz, I knocked him out of a beer pong tournament at the stadium at Miami University.
Yeah,
nice.
Looking at the ballroom right now, so you may be without him for a wee while. Depends on how well he does. It looks like he's a favourite to win Dancing with the Stars, from what I hear. I watched his first dance. Really good.
And his reality show is a hell of a lot better than Cody's.
Totally. I bet we all knew that. Yeah. Straight in there, there's some really good picks getting suggested to you there, Vet.
Yeah,
very
I know.
Strong ones.
They really want.
I thought that
me to M5's on the nose for me. Yeah.
When you said you were going to go for a reach here early, I thought that's who you were going to go with.
Who?
I thought Morrison was going to be where you had Walter.
Yeah.
Oh. Are you kidding me? John Morrison, after I buried him on NXT this past week? Yeah. No, dude, I don't want John Morrison.
He's not touching him with a barge pole.
Yeah, if you want him, you can take him at number 19.
Well, that's
right ahead.
I was going to say there's a reason I didn't take both.
Negotiating future picks here.
Yeah. Well, I just said you don't worry about taking Drew McIntyre. You can take him at 20, but you could take Morrison at 19. But I'm going to take. Right now, I'm gambling here, but I'm going to finally use some value for my picks. If I draft Nakamura, I get Boogs, right? So
you can indeed.
Give me.
You are officially tag team, so Nakamura.
Give me a king.
King and Nakamura. Thanks for making me spell this.
Yeah, just so the chat knows and stuff. Like, I'm not drafting in order of my favorites here. I'm bouncing around, trying to strategize.
You got to balance that roster. You got to have little, offer something for everybody there.
Yeah, I do like all these guys, but if I was just drafting an order of favorites, this would look way different.
Yeah.
All right, money man. Yeah, dummy. Give me L.A. Knight.
Ooh.
Nice one.
Very, very interesting move. That's how you spell any night, isn't it?
Yes.
Good.
That is a nice pick. I will take.
Very solid pick from NXT.
I will take.
Well, that's a good comment. The Sonic in there. I'm throwing out people whose names I can remember without Googling.
Champion.
Yeah.
That's normally my first 10 picks.
Media is telling me I gotta sell tickets, and then he's telling me I gotta get Rollins. I don't know if those two things necessarily go together, but the thing is, like, again, I'm not. When I'm doing this, I'm not necessarily thinking that I live in the world that we live in. I'm taking the people I want. I'm not going by like what I think the people will say. People are gonna buy tickets to my show. That's what it's gonna be. They're not gonna buy it based on like I'm preconceived drafting these people. I'm drafting like what I think these people are capable of and what I can do with them. And I think RBV, you're doing the same thing, right? You're basically you're not gonna call him Braun Breaker. You're not locked into that. And with that in mind, God, Finn Balor.
Wow. Good move. Good, interesting move there. Balor, the former demon who was beaten by a turnbuckle just this past Sunday on
Not in my
Smackdown
world.
brand once again. Yep, got some. We've got a call for women on the.
I got us covered here. I got us covered here. I'm going to go with not Sasha. I'm going to go with Bianca Belair.
Oh, very good choice.
Nice.
Very strong choice.
Well, I was talking about how she's a mega. She should be a megastar. So I think
Right.
I gotta take her, right?
So here at what, number 11?
Yeah.
I'm taking. I will match your. I will see your. I will see your Bianca, and I will raise you a Rhea Ripley. Finally.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah. I like it. 2 talents on the rise. Although you aren't taking the 2-for-1 bargain, which I'm interested to see.
What did Cornette say about Rhea Ripley this week on his show? Something like she looks like a dominatrix and it was her. It was about Ripley and Nikki.
Was
it like she looks like a dominatrix, looks like a Make-A-Wish kid or something?
Yeah, with the Make-A-Wish kid.
John Enright, he's made an appearance on the chat. So, boys, about to wedding it up. Good luck. I hope it goes well. You marry those 2 people good and proper, so you will.
So he wasn't doing it, and we've already done the whole 2-hour show. He could have actually done this, you mean?
Yeah, he could have done that. He could have practically done this on the altar, really.
It was a hell of a
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, like one moment.
You're going to be bachelor and
good, you marry,
bachelorette.
kiss her.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna draft Samoa Joe. There we go.
Yeah,
they would have been up for that. Right. So Rick, you're on your 10th pick. We're on the halfway mark of the draft from this one here. Driving Schmivin, John. Driving's.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and lock him up because he's gonna come off the board here eventually. So I want him on my team.
Sheamus. Over onto the red band. Remaining on the red band, is it? So it's not quite got as juicy as I thought it was going to be. Really good picks, but we're not getting into the spicy bits yet. I'm surprised. Very.
Well, what do you consider spicy?
Well, I would have thought like Charlotte Flair. A move would have been like a Becky Lynch or something like that. A tit for tat,
we already established Becky Lynch is going 20 for me.
Yeah.
Cujo with the get a driverless car, you douche. Home run over the wall, like out of the stadium. Really,
I love you, John. Don't let them bring you down.
Oh, I love him too, but come on, you got to give it up.
Yeah, it
just looks so good in text with no capitals and no punctuation. It's just so funny. Geez, what I got here.
It's getting tough now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it kind of is. And I don't even... I think what I'm going to do here is take a pick just to buy me some more time. And so I'm going to take a guy that, in my heart, he goes a lot higher. I don't know what in danger he is of getting picked, but he's a guy that... you could definitely, if you do it correctly, you could build a company around this guy. Ricochet.
Very underutilized at the moment on the main event. We're at the halfway mark. We've got 10 picks each to go. I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on you. My status on the couch will be extended the longer this goes.
So. Can I take these 2 together? I mean, they are married. Can I get Index?
Ooh. Now,
if I can't take them together, I was just going to go with Dexter. But
go ahead and let him have it. I don't care.
I'll go for it. I'll say Index. I'll let you have them. Indy Hartwell and Dexter Loomis, newlyweds. Currently enjoying their honeymoon.
There's some calls in the chat for John Cena. I don't think I'll be doing that. Nobody worth remembering says, take Cesaro. He's a working horse who just need a manager to be perfect. I'm sorry. I'm never going to have somebody work for me that knocked his own teeth out biting a ring post.
Unfortunately,
I'm feeling for Cesaro here. We keep seeing that name pop up, and he's like that poor guy sitting at the NFL draft. That everybody wants to go in the top 5, and he just keeps on sitting there. They keep going to him. They keep going to him. He's just sitting there waiting for his name.
So, bad news, chat. John Cena is not eligible in this draft.
Next thing you're going to
he's
tell me
not
I
on the
can't
list.
take Goldberg.
You cannot.
But he's going to have a match.
He's going to have a match, but he is not. Well, I suppose. I mean,
It's not. It's just not going to be a match. It could be a murdering.
Let me just check here.
Oh,
Let me
that's
see
right,
If he
that's
is
right.
on the, if he is on the list there, nope.
But when he gets out of prison, I want him.
He is. Really. He's not on the. I deliberately didn't take the free agents one. Technically, Brock Lesnar was a Raw superstar, so that's why Rick could claim him. No, he was established on SmackDown. I tell a lie. He was marked as a SmackDown superstar. That's why Rick could claim him. But Goldberg is not on the list.
That's fine.
You'd only get one match of him at best anyway. Why would you have him?
In this fantasy world, I'll have him on weekly matches.
Have him work himself to death.
Yeah. Everybody's got to go sometime. Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. The soon-to-be Kevin Steen, if rumors are to be believed.
Probably so.
We saw the booking suggesting so as he goes in there. Nikki Bella is a better. Nikki Bella, unfortunately, not in the draft either.
All right, we got Kevin Owens on the blue brand.
Big move, big move here.
I'm going to put him back under the hood. Give me El Generico.
Oh,
that's a nice pick.
I'm going to go. I'll put him in as Sami Zayn, but I will bracket him for your own. El Generico is there. Again, someone who's rumored to be moving on, but as far as we know, he's still at the orphanage helping those children.
That's right.
Thanks. I'm liking these plays here. I'm starting to get a good feeling here.
Give me what's her name? The boss.
Sasha Banks.
Yes.
Sasha Banks, finally.
You also get Snoop Dogg with that too.
Oh, cool.
He's
believe me, he's going to frog splash somebody in this company.
So we've claimed two of the 4 horsewomen. 3 if you're willing to claim Becky Lynch as the vet has offered you. But do you burn that pick now, or do you wait until later on, or is it a bluff? Who's to know? Tony Danza is the boss.
Logan Paul.
Hey,
you draft Logan Paul.
I'll take all those YouTube followers.
Nobody worth remember having a really good pick there. I think a really good pick there. Nobody worth remembering.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like I might be.
She would have been on my list. I'm just
stretching on
she would have been on my
here,
list.
But I think I'm gonna go with Io Shirai.
Io Shirai, 1/2
Nice.
of the NXT. You're not taking it as a pair?
Nah. Just Io.
Get a free Zoe Stark. Buy one Io Shirai, get a free Zoe Stark.
That's kind of like when I go to McDonald's and they're like, well, you can get the large fry. I don't want the large fry. Just give me the damn small one. I'm going to end up throwing half of them away then.
Just leave them in the bag, the ones that fall out.
I said, I got a bollocking for not taking a meal deal one day because I just wanted the sandwich and not the packet of crisps to go with it, despite the fact it worked out cheaper to have the crisps with it. My life was ruined for weeks because of it.
Speaking of that, for anyone out there, if you do go to McDonald's, get the app. You're a sucker if you go there and pay those regular prices. You got to have the app.
Yeah, McDonald's app is the way to go, 100%.
All right, so now we're really. How many picks is this now?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. We're on 13. Unlucky for some.
Oh, jeez. I don't even know if they have that many people I do want. Maybe
Hey,
I should just.
I'm one of those people that's like, we're only doing 5 matches, so I don't need a whole extended roster.
Yeah.
The
chat. Oh boy, they've got some big names in here.
Well, I can't.
Cujo coming in with the tank. Tegan Knox is a saint. I won't have a bad word said about her.
If you take Natty, do you get her sister?
I mean, we can only hope.
It doesn't. I mean, look, Big E's on Raw, so. I think I'm gonna. Oh, okay. There's been some picks thrown away on Raw. I wouldn't necessarily call this a throwaway pick, but it's something no one's gonna expect. But I know more than what this guy's shown on television so far, at least on Raw, since he's been on there. But I'm taking none other than, and I don't want his tag team partner either, but give me Mansoor.
Ooh. I can see where you're coming from. It's a nice one. It's a nice little pick.
Mansoor's good for how little he's been in wrestling.
Yeah.
But on Raw, he's just kind of like very basic. But I've seen him do some stuff in NXT and 205 that is very impressive. For a guy at his skill level or experience level, I should say.
Yeah. I was really enjoying his undefeated run for a while. You know, when they got him from the Crown Jewel show, and I thought, this is just publicity. But no, they've actually put some effort and elbow grease into him. Bear in mind, they are doing like another 7 years worth of Saudi shows, so keep that in the back burner. But you know, he's done really well. And I thought the undefeated streak, I thought that could have been a really interesting storyline if he was just sort of like the small guy that somehow found a way to win every time, and just bumped him up the car ever so slightly. Would have been fun, but no.
Too interesting.
Too interesting. He can cut a promo though. His first promo was magic.
Right.
And
yeah.
So. Okay, we're into 14. We're getting into the tail end of this draft. The business end, if you will.
Let's go with Asuka.
Aha! Like
So good.
I haven't seen her for a while. Recovering from wrist surgery. Asuka, big name to have on your women's roster, mate, is looking fantastic so far. Solid. 4 names, but very solid.
I want a nice women's roster too.
Yeah. I mean, you've only got 2. I mean, to be fair, they're nothing bad to look at, if I'm honest with you.
Wait, I only have 2 women right now?
You've got Sasha. Oh no, you got 3.
Yeah,
You've got 3. You got 3.
I've got 2 in the pocket. But I have to hold on. I got to figure out how many I got left. So this is my 13th or 14th pick.
This will be 14.
14. Yeah, you're on 14.
Okay, give me Seth Rollins right now.
Oh, there it is. I am shocked that he's got so far down this list. Very shocked indeed, considering what he brings to the table. I think he's got plenty about him. He's a really good worker. His character work over the past month or 2 on SmackDown has been pretty good.
Yeah, all that stuff. I just didn't want him is all. But I'll take him now.
I think the only time and I appreciate what he does and all that, but the only time I ever really got behind Seth Rollins was going all the way back to Wrestling Society X.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, like the 2014 Jon Stewart, like that was peak Seth Rollins right there.
Yeah. Interestingly, looking at your championship champions are thin on the ground, as it were. Maybe Rick's not so bad, but missing some big names there. Missing some big names.
Hey, now it's getting tough. How about I'll take the Garganos.
Okay, the Garganos. 2 for 1.
I'm liking these bang for the buck picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're definitely using the app. Let's put it that way. I believe I will take no. I'm gonna do I? Should I? Will I? I gotta take. Is it gonna be? No, surely not. Fuck, this is hard. Yeah, I think it's gonna have to be Street Profits.
Yes. I think you've got to take them as that pairing right now. I would have liked to have taken Montez Ford on his own, but I don't know.
No love for Doc.
I like Angelo Dawkins, I really do, but we all know that Montez Ford's going to be the man one day. He's
Right.
They're starting to tune him up a little bit for it.
Okay.
We're down to the last 5 picks.
Guys, I don't like Ziggler and Rude. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I do. Actually, I like Rude, but I could just take him by himself, I suppose. But anything to not have Dolph Ziggler.
I'm gonna go with give me the king of swing. Let's get him off the board, Cesaro.
All right.
Big hitting roster, that Raw roster, I tell you.
Hey over there, Dalton, Stevie. Hey, we got to show our love for Stevie Ray, part of the Hameen Media Group brand management. Great content from Stevie Ray.
I've not had the chance to speak to him yet, but he's apparently a lovely guy. Really great guy to speak to. So, well worth the time. So, listen to the show as well. Like, if you are on Patreon, listen to the Stevie Ray show. It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, man. Stevie Ray's great. Absolutely. He's one of my favorite people to listen to talk. Always has been, really. Even going back to WCW commentary. But
it's
especially
funny
now, talking about real important historical and social issues.
It's funny, you go look and, some of the things that he would drop, his little tags, his catchphrases. No way in hell they're flying on today's television.
Right. But they should. They should.
So head track.
If you can't call somebody a suck a fruit booty,
what
this is a world I don't want to live in.
We've done.
Yeah, there's a lot of ladies that I want now. There's not that many dudes left.
Yeah, your roster needs a bit of.
I may be the women's
touch.
promotion. I may be that. I mean, like, for example, to take you through my thought process, you might think I'm crazy that I took Mansoor before I took Rey Mysterio. It's not that I don't like Rey Mysterio. It's just that
I wouldn't have went from.
I forget about Rey Mysterio because he's such a stalwart and a legend, and it's like I can't even believe he's really there, and I can't even believe he's associating himself with this bullshit that he's been involved with since he's been back, and so I tend to forget about him.
I would have been more inclined to go for Dominic than would be for Ray, which is quite controversial, I would imagine. But
yeah, that's extremely controversial. Can you mute yourself, please, for a while now?
Come on now.
Well, I'm more thinking now we know why James isn't picking.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, like, you can make the case that if you're planning for the future, because my philosophy would have been like bring in some big names and then fill in with talents I would see there's some potential in, and we can build them up from there. Like, why would I have Ray only be part of the roster for maybe a year or two or forever long when I've got Dominic who's learning on the job? If he gets better within a certain period of time, I've got him that can work him up the ranks a little bit.
Again, in this fantasy scenario, he can wrestle as long as I need him to, but I also can use Rey Mysterio as an on-air personality anytime that he's not wrestling. So
that's true.
You can make value out of anybody, and the fact that the WWE doesn't makes us think of people in one-dimensional terms. Like we look at people like like a Rey Mysterio, and just like, well, he's washed up, he's almost done. It's like, but it's Rey Mysterio.
Well, when you go back, we were talking about markability. It's rare in the WWE, if you look with the Q rating, or he has the fascination if we would go to the mall, like anyone still goes to those, and you start asking who some of these people are, they're not going to recognize that, but they're going to know Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. They're probably, you know, like whenever I hear people say that, if you go into the mall and scream, you know, a lot of times you hear them say that about Japanese wrestlers. Like if you go in the mall and scream Hiroshi Tanahashi, is anybody going to turn around? And I'm like, if you go into the mall and scream Seth Rollins, is anybody going to turn around? Of course not. Nobody's over these days. But all that being said,
maybe
I think
you're at the hot topic,
right? Nick Jackson. I think I'm gonna.
It's the Young Bucks.
I think I talked myself into taking Rey Mysterio.
I can't believe that's how we went the long way around for Rey Mysterio.
Guys, just so you know, in the chat, I see you guys. I know, but I'm trying. I've got it. I've got a plan.
Yeah. Well, I believe we've got 4 picks to go. I believe now is a good time to point out that neither of you have picked either the Intercontinental, the United States, the Raw Tag Team. Oh,
I picked King Nakamura.
Oh, yeah.
We got
Sorry,
He's a king and a champion. That's my 2-for-1.
You've cut me off.
You can have Candice, you know, Gargano. I'll take a crown.
A mistake then. So we don't have a United States champ. We've still got a SmackDown Tag Team Champion to claim. We've got a SmackDown Women's Champion to claim.
Cujo's at the Liv Morgan with bathtub, like that little, like the little playset, little Mattel playset. Liv Morgan with bathtub. Yeah,
that's a 2-for-1 we all want. Yep.
I'm gonna go with. I am gonna bring a champion to Raw. And I'm going to give the wrestling world what they've wanted. I'm going to give them that feud with Randy Orton. Give me Tommaso Ciampa.
Nobody wanted that. Nobody in the world ever wanted that, ever. Especially neither one of them guys.
NXT champion. Very big pick. Usos have gone so far down this list, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, they were supposed to come with the first pick, Roman Reigns, but I said no.
Oh, you said no, yeah.
No, I'm not taking them.
Run them down.
Absolutely not.
Unbelievable.
No, they are good though, man. But clearly, I'm not interested in tag teams this time.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, who are you gonna work with?
I mean, as it stands, you technically have 2.
Do I?
Yeah, the Street Profits and Nakamura and Boogs.
Yeah, I'm not counting those 2 as a tag team though.
Wow. You just claimed them 2-for-1.
He's just a guitar player, that's all. Who can lift a lot of weight. I'm taking Bayley. Give me Bayley.
Ooh, nice.
Finally, that was doing my head in.
See, but they've been calling for Bayley, and believe me, if I'm just going again, if I'm going off of favorites, she's going a lot higher. But I'm just thinking,
yeah, Bayley on the draft sheet finally. I see. This is my job as mediator. I can't really influence the picks, but man, inside I was just like, pick her.
Relax.
I mean, there's a few there that I'm like, come on, guys, get them picked.
I'm going to stay on that NXT train I'm on here. I'm going to go with the women's champ. Give me Raquel.
Raquel Gonzalez.
You know, it's her era. It's the Raquel Gonzalez era. I hope you guys are feeling comfortable living in it. So how many more?
You've got 3, and RBV has 2.
Okay. Give me. I need.
Elizabeth asking a very pertinent question there. Do you get the talk shows as well?
Yes, of course I do. Hello?
Ding dong, hello.
God. Oh, man. Cujo with the save.
I was going to say.
Should I take him?
I was surprised.
I'm taking him. Give me Tony D'Angelo. Give me Tony D'Angelo over here.
D'Angelo. I feel like we're throwing a pick away there, but hey, it's your roster.
Family business. It's a rib pick, but whatever.
Oh my goodness, we've got.
He took Index.
You did, to be fair.
I could take Tony D'Angelo, unproven.
Hasn't worked a second so far on the roster. Hey, we got a promo.
Hey, forget about it, man. It's all right.
Yeah. Oh man, you guys are in for such a treat on Wednesday. You don't even know. You don't even know, guys. You're getting all kind of stuff. You're getting the debut of Tony D'Angelo review. I'm bringing a special guest to review it that you guys have never seen. And we're doing a review of Poppy's album Flux. So get ready for an amazing stacked next level on Wednesday.
I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Watch the show.
How about
Hey,
Samoa Joe?
Woof.
Is he inactive?
I'm gonna check. Actually,
He's on the NXT list.
He should be on
He's
the
on the
list,
Wikipedia
He's
list.
on my
of
Wikipedia
NXT.
list.
Yep,
Just
he is
let
on
him
the
have
list.
Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe is there. Conveniently getting injured and relinquishing the title just a night before NXT 2.0 launches. Let's not. But come on, totally legit injury.
Okay. Now
2 picks to go.
just to take off any confusion, like there could be a last minute swerve or whatever, I'm taking the man right now at 19. The man. There's only one the man.
Just take. He's taking a
Give me big time
Becky
Becky.
Lynch, and we have
I was holding my breath there. I thought you were going to
WWE.
beat me to something here.
SmackDown.
Media
Women's
says
champ.
Italian Defamation League is going to be all over D'Angelo. They're going to be like, this really burns our cannoli. All right. Yep.
Okay, so final picks, gentlemen. I'm looking forward to some biggins here.
All right, I think this. I don't think anyone's going to see this one coming. I want to take. This has been done before in the drafts. Give me Pat McAfee.
Ah, come on. Is he on the list? He's not on the list.
He works
He's a
there.
commentator.
They've done it before.
Hey,
Hey,
there's a precedent for announcers being drafted. We have to give it to them.
You're burning this.
I
pick,
got to
mate.
have a Rip Rogers guy.
That's an excellent pick.
That's how you spell McAfee, but whatever we're getting.
I hate to steal him away though from that Nakamura entrance. So, but
Yeah.
Now, I
Well,
wouldn't
you
have
know,
done it, but
maybe
we've-
maybe we'll get something together at pay-per-views and stuff, you know. Do like a little joint promotion.
Pat McAfee, mate. You've got Drew McIntyre right there on a plate, and you didn't even go for him.
And he's
Hang
not
on,
coming.
Who
either.
else you got here?
He's gonna
Let's
be
have a look here.
undrafted.
Let's go down this. Damian Priest's there. Jesus Christ.
Don't care. Don't care, man. Hey, we could do
hang
a
on.
supplemental draft some other time, but
Oh, you're damn right. We'll have to.
they're all going. They're all going back to
dig into
NXT.
yeah,
to be fair,
everybody-
Raw's a bit.
you weren't good enough to get drafted. You get to go
there's
down
some
there and
names we've missed
take
here.
bumps for Odyssey Jones. I am taking. This is the craziest pick of all. No one's ever gonna guess it, and that's why I left it for last because you know it was never gonna be a thing anyway. But
This is our mystery relevant though, right?
nope.
last
This is.
Oh, convenient ping there.
Oh yeah, I just got.
They're
a
getting in
message
touch with you
confirming-
now?
I'm finalizing this deal right now.
Pen to paper as we speak.
No, this is from NXT UK. It's another lady,
Oh,
and
I'm
it
liking
is the
this.
most slept-on person in this entire company, and that's going to be the fashionista Ginny. Give me
Yes!
the fashionista Ginny.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, James, you like that pick?
1000%. She was on my list when I was doing my picks.
Really?
Yep, she
All
was
right.
on the list.
A man of culture, I see.
Yep, 1000%. So the draft has been done. 20 names for Raw, 20 names for SmackDown. Let's go through it. Rick, your choice, quite a strong roster you've got there, Rick. Well, Brock Lesnar, The New Day, including Big E, Braun Breaker from NXT, RK Bro, Karrion Kross, Charlotte Flair, as we would have thought, The Miz, LA Knight, Bianca Belair, Sheamus, Index, Sami Zayn, who we're going to rebrand El Generico, Io Shirai, they're half the tag team champs of NXT, Asuka, the Garganos, Johnny Gargano, and Candice LeRae, Cesaro, Tommaso Ciampa, the NXT champion, Raquel Gonzalez, the NXT women's champion, Samoa Joe, and fuddlingly Pat McAfee at the end. Man, you were so strong until the end there. On the other
McAfee's
side,
the most over person on my roster.
oh, 100%. But I'm a bit unsure about picking a commentator for your last pick. That's bold strategy. Bold strategy.
Better than using them for the first pick.
Two, right? I suppose that's true. That would.
Hey, McAfee's proof he can go in the ring.
You can. You can.
Yep.
There is that there. So I'll give you that. I will give you that. Vet for Smackdown. Roman Reigns, Universal Champion. Bobby Lashley. AJ Styles. Keith Lee. Tony Storm. Walter. King Nakamura and Boogs. Nakamura being Intercontinental Champion. Finn Balor. Women's Tag Team Champ Rhea Ripley. Ricochet. Kevin Owens. Sasha Banks. Mansoor. Seth Rollins. The Street Profits. Rey Mysterio. Bayley. Tony D'Angelo. Becky Lynch, the SmackDown Women's Champion. And NXT UK's Ginny. An underrated choice, I have to say. Very good choice indeed. Some big names missing on that. Let's go through them a little bit here before we dive into your respective rosters. Let's see. Angel Garza, quite an interesting name you could have had there. Drew McIntyre.
I would take him.
Yeah, I think I would have taken him as well.
I had him a couple times, and I just didn't pull the trigger on him.
Yeah. Drew McIntyre, the big one sticking out on the Raw side of things. Women's roster, you had so many to pick from. Alexa Bliss left on the cutting room floor. Shayna Baszler.
Wanted her.
Shayna Baszler missing out there.
I was gonna have half my roster be women, man. You know, it almost was.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have just done like a Stardom or Shimmer type thing. I'm having the women's promotion. I don't care.
Totally. Doudrop, once Piper Niven, formerly known as Viper. Got a bad stick with the name there, but I think that would have been a really solid talent to have on any roster there for that.
Yeah, she's good.
SmackDown side of things. Alpha Academy, I would have taken there. I think I would have had them. Maybe would have went for a Corbin. Usos didn't make the cut on this round. Unbelievable. Like, Usos didn't make the cut. You could have had them for free, Vet. You could have had them for free, and you turned them down.
We could pretend I did, but I really don't need it that much.
Look at this women's roster you could have picked from, though. Bayley, Carmella, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Natalia.
I took Bayley.
You did, actually. You did. Sorry, tell a lie. Selena, well, maybe not Selena Vega, but Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart. We got here Naomi, Natalia, Tamina. Some biggish names there. You could have claimed that would have been interesting. That would have been fun.
I would take a Shotzi. I would take a Naomi, but again, too many women. Yeah.
No Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes would have done well. I was kind of thinking someone would have went for Cameron Grimes on this one, but really good. I'm just kind of going through and just trying to make you feel guilty. You won't, because you're.
Go ahead.
Kyle O'Reilly, Kushida.
I would have taken Kyle O'Reilly. He's on my list.
Yeah, Pete Dunne. No space for Pete Dunne on that list.
Well, a couple of those names there, like Grimes and Dunn, I stayed away because of their size. When I went with Gargano, he was kind of my small guy, so I want that to be unique.
No one want to take a chance on Von Wagner again. Man, the NXT women's roster stacked. We could have had Candy. Well, you got Candice LeRae, Cora Jade, Dakota Kai, Ember Moon, Gigi Dolan, Indy Hartwell wasn't picked. I don't believe.
Yeah, I got Index.
Oh no, you got Indy. Yeah, you did. Index. You got her there. Kaylee Ray was another one I would have loved to have seen picked on one of the rosters. That would have on.
You would.
Yeah. Hey, hometown loyalty. You got to show it. Mandy Rose. Let's see. Saray, Scarlett. Surprising. I don't know if would you pair Scarlett with Karrion Kross. You got Cross.
I'll take her if I can get her.
You take her?
I stayed away from Mandy Rose because I don't want a sexual harassment case against me.
Wow, brutal.
I think someone, maybe Cujo, wanted me to take all of Toxic Attraction.
Yeah, that was thrown out there. Toxic Attraction would have been a biggie. That would have been a really good one for that there.
I don't feel sorry about passing up any of those women in NXT or any of the men, really.
Yep. NXT.
Maybe Odyssey Jones. I would have taken Odyssey Jones.
I thought about him a couple times.
Yeah, that was getting thrown out.
I have
quite
Keith
a lot
Lee,
there.
so I don't need Odyssey Jones. Yeah. Like, why don't I take a giant charismatic black man that does know what he's doing already? Yeah. Like, I'll take that one.
One name I'm not surprised. He was going to be on my list if I was really going to go for an outside the box pick. I'm surprised you didn't go for him after you went for Walter. Ilja Dragunov. I think he would have been brilliant somewhere. He's a workhorse.
I just don't. I'm not into Dragunov. He's weird. He's weird. He's confusing. Like, I don't know what he thinks he's doing, but he's weird. But I like his matches with Walter. I just don't like his matches with anybody else.
Yeah. Let's go a little bit further down the list. Tyler Bate, the Heritage Cup champion, maybe would have been a good name for that there.
Hate him.
Wow. I was maybe going to think of Gallus. Gallus would have been a good name.
Oh,
so you had like
God. Ratings poison.
Oh, dear.
Gallus is the most boring. Okay, look. Hands down, bar none, the most boring people that WWE has signed pen to paper is all three members of Gallus. Like, debate me. I dare you. Who's more boring than Gallus?
But most of the 24/7 division, I would say. That's
nope.
Come on there. That's not great.
What are you talking about? R-Truth? Yeah, he's boring. He's boring compared to Joe Coffey.
What's Truth? That's Iron King.
Come on,
leave him alone.
R-Truth is one of the more entertaining people in the entire business.
Yeah, just because they have him acting like a clown doesn't mean he couldn't do anything. Actually, I should have took R-Truth. You know what? Supplemental draft, round 1, R-Truth. How about that?
We'll come back into that one day. And,
yeah, and not only is Gallus not signed, I will blackball them from wrestling ever. Black Coffee.
Heart. No major other names apart from those, I don't think.
Who else does that? Do they even have in the UK now? They don't have nobody good anymore.
Oh, don't even.
You talking about the promotion or the country?
Oh my God! I was just limiting it to the promotion.
That's it. Vet wins the draft after that. But yeah, so that's the names of what we could have had. We've got a good list of names, all 20 there. How are we feeling about the rosters? I'm leaning towards Rick's roster.
I like both of them. I think they're both. Here's what I'm really thinking about this. We saw what we saw on Friday from SmackDown. We're guessing. We're pretty sure what we're going to get on Raw. This was a hell of a lot better than that. Can you imagine the pops if there would have been choices like this made on television?
Right.
Yeah.
I think we both would have got booed out of the building at multiple times for some of our choices here.
Yeah. I will say 20 picks. Rick has claimed around about 26 or 27 wrestlers on his draft.
Cheating, taking advantage of these stupid rules.
Buck
these vague rules.
Bang for buck. I'm just looking quickly at your one. You're looking at 21 to 22. That's what we're looking at there. 22. Although you will kind of, by virtue of having Rhea Ripley, have 23 because Nikki Ash is the other half of the women's tag champs. So until they drop the belt, and by technicalities, you got her. So
this is obviously this is a starting 20 or 20 plus, and people could always get signed if I need them.
I mean, you could totally like New Blood Millionaires Club this and just strip every one of their champions up on day one and start again. So
I can't draft in that one. So like if people are saying that one or the other of us had the better show or whatever based on this draft, it's like, are you going by what the WWE has shown you with these guys? Or you got to see are you going with what the potential of these talents and what they can really what they can do in the right hands?
Yeah.
Now this is real quick here, Vet. Who is your top draw? Who would you put your new SmackDown Universal, whatever the case might be, championship on?
Keith Lee.
Wow, straight in there. Roman Reigns is right there, and he's going for Keith Lee.
The first thing you do is you beat Roman Reigns, make a statement. Like that's what it should have happened when he came in that first time and he had the match with Roman. He should have beat him.
Hey, just like these Bearcats are going to take down Notre Dame here in about an hour.
That's right.
You got to have your Bearcat go after the top dog there and take him down.
Yeah, those Irish aren't that good at fighting.
Yeah. How about yourself, Rick? Well, who would you throw in there? Quite a lot of names you could.
Yeah,
do you go Braun right away? Braun Breaker in the first?
I think I build towards that. I ride Brock for a while. I have my champ just come for those big money matches, and you build someone like Steiner up to that moment and have that big payoff between those two.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, see, this is what I was talking
James?
about with James. Like, you look at Brock Lesnar and you're like, of course, duh. But if you go by what they've been doing with him the last times we've seen him, it's like, single digits minutes jobs to Drew McIntyre, single digits minutes jobs to Seth Rollins. Like they don't, you almost forget about that. It's like, oh look, it's just Brock Lesnar. I forgot all about it.
I mean, you could take a chance on an LA Knight. I think champion stats for LA Knight's a good position. It could be an interesting sort of top heel position. I think he could carry that quite well.
You could certainly talk him into the building.
Oh,
if that's a thing anymore.
Like, who we got on this? So you got Big E as champ. Hey, LA Knight and Big E's a feud I'd watch.
When did it change? Because it used to be talking them into the building. Now WWE is excelling at talking them out of the building.
Yeah, shooting themselves in the foot to spite, cutting their nose to spite their face.
Hey, I do want to put them over. Going to Raw this past week, and the product on television might not be that great, but they do a hell of a job with their production. It was electric in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one great equalizer is live wrestling, because no matter what you see on TV from any of the companies, when you're sitting there in that chair and you're just a few feet away or whatever, every promotion looks the same. It's 2 guys, 3 guys, 4 guys, whatever it is, in a ring doing their thing, and you don't have the announcers telling you how you're supposed to feel about it. You're just there to experience it with everybody else, and it's right in your face. So seeing it live is there's really nothing like it. They just don't do a good enough job of trying to sell you that. That's what it used to be. Like, TV shows used to be a way to it's like a commercial for live events. Like, come and see your favorite stars, and it's exciting. You get to see them in person. Now it's almost like somewhere along the way, maybe Vince Russo is partly to blame for this, but somewhere along the way, somebody thought of pro wrestling as an actual episodic TV show instead of a sports organization. And it's just not. You can't sustain that level of TV for that long. There's a reason why it's the longest running, because no other TV show could do something like that. So it's more focused on trying to have like entertainment stories, things like that, and not the just focus on like, hey, you get to pay to see this guy, which is what every other sport does. Hey, come see Tom Brady. Hey, come see LeBron James. Hey, those are the draws. Like, you want to say, I was in the building when, Kobe scored 80 points, or, whatever the appeal of sports is. I think wrestling, they're going to have to lean more into that, because they're already burnt themselves out creatively. You've seen it.
Yeah.
Well said. Hey, get out there, support your indies too. Find a local promotion. There's something magical.
What would you know about that, Mr. Rick Vickery? Like, tell the people what you got going on.
Well, I say we got 2 weeks away. FTW, Food Trucks and Wrestling. So yeah, I was pretty proud that I came up with that concept. I took the 2 things I love, wrestling and food, put them together. Right. We got a hell of a show coming at the fans here in Cincinnati. Looking to pack the place. My capacity at the arena is 300, and anything short of that, I'm going to be disappointed. So we've been out hitting the trail hard.
All right.
Nice. So, is there anything we want to conclude on? We'll probably call it a day here, because we've done quite. This has been
I say,
of a show, by the way, lads. Unbelievable.
Certainly, money. Give me a shot of this thing. Let's put it up on social media. We'll hit it on the business pages. We'll let the people vote.
Yeah, we can do that. We can get a screen, if I can figure out how to do a bloody screenshot of all of this nonsense, and I will get it up on the HFG. So what I'll do is I'll give it a couple of days, so then people have to watch the show to get the initial thing, and then once we get to Monday, because that's locker room day, we'll watch it out, and we'll figure out who the champion is. And do you want to come back to this? You guys want to come back on, and we can kind of, I don't know if you want to kind of book out a card and maybe give me a wee pitch just to kind of tie this on a little bow, or
absolutely not. I have no interest in booking. I'll leave that up to the promoters. I barely want to watch SmackDown or Raw. I certainly don't want to try to book it.
Brilliant. That's the best.
Booking it. That's why I hired Beast, because I don't know how to book this stuff.
Like, they draft that roster. That's your problem now, guys.
Yep.
Sit back and there you go. All right, okay, I respect that. Fair enough. Like, so what I'll do is I'll save this now, so I don't have to forget it. Oh, it's not there. Shit. I don't know. Does it save automatically? It must do. Okay. If not, it's here. Watch the video. Okay, so I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll get this up, and then on Monday we'll release the poll of who's got the better roster, and we'll see who wins, and I'll make the announcement on Saturday next weekend. We do the live Smack Attack there. What are you guys got coming up this week before we close on it? Anything you want to plug? And I'll, Rick, you plugged food trucks and wrestling, but what else you got going on? What's coming up?
Well, I was going to say, I do want to say, head on over to Facebook, facebook.com/Professional Wrestling Alliance. That's our page. You can keep up with everything we got going on. Check out the awesome talents that we have on board with us that make our regular appearances there. So again, that is facebook.com/Professional Wrestling Alliance. And of course, patreon.com/Hameen Media Group. So you can keep up with all the, don't let that Patreon, don't let it scare you. It's free over there. Yep. So again, you want to make sure that you're keeping up with all things HMG.
Yeah, good place. How about yourself? Are you going for Grand Slam again? You going for Grand Slam this week?
No, I wasn't on Light the Fuse, even though I saw that Ben Hameen did it like by himself in under 40 minutes. I was like,
I know.
Oh man, you could have hit me up. I mean, I would have at least. I mean, I still watched it, so I could have done that. I could have had another Grand Slam, I guess. Yeah. But no, it's just gonna be Impact Attack probably on Monday night, and then Next Level Wrestling Review. It's gonna be a great episode. I'm already calling it. I'm calling my shot. It's gonna be a good episode on Wednesday. So I hope to see everybody there for that. You can find me at Opinion Haver on all social media. RBV is a great pleasure getting to do this show with you. Hope there will be many more in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I think the good news is I don't think he's completely forgiven me, and I'm not even sure what I did, but I'm back in somewhat good graces with your tag team partner, Big Red.
Yeah, those badges. I saw those badges getting mended a little bit.
He's very vague about things, and I don't ask. I'm sure he's just throwing it out there, trying to get me to like ask questions, and I'm just like,
I'm not even completely sure what I did, but we're gonna do the Crown Jewel review together, so that'll be fun. I always love working with Big Red. Great personality.
Yeah,
right. and a good brother.
Yeah, and a good brother.
Oh, as always, as a good brother. I tell you what, I've not got anything going on, but I'll tell you what is going on here. The Smack Attack, we always love it when you get in touch. Your live chat, you've been fantastic today, so thanks for showing yourselves again, putting yourselves in good order. It's been a brilliant episode to have you on. If you're watching this afterwards, or you're listening to this afterwards, and you want to get in touch with us, there's many ways you can do that. You can get in touch with us on Twitter at SmackAttackHMG. You can email us, smackattackhammymedia@gmail.com. You can find us on the Facebook group, Hammy Media Discussion Group. It's a great place to be if you're a wrestling fan. If you're any kind of fan, if you want to just talk shit about anything, you can come on to the Hammy Media Discussion Group. We do live chats for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, pay-per-views, Impact Wrestling, AEW. If you name an event, there's a live chat for it. We do it there. We do pick-ems for every WWE pay-per-view as the month comes on. That league's not looking very too good for me right now. I was hoping to go at that top. I was hoping to get to the top end of it, but crashing and burning, so it's not a place to be. So come and join us here. If you've got something to say about pro wrestling, conspiracies, something that's going on in the world, if you've got something to say, platform's there for you to get involved. So put yourself out there. We'd love hearing from you for that there as well. Rick's already mentioned the Patreon for Hammy Media Group. All our shows are free right now, so if you all want to get in touch, go in. So much content here. You've got us, you've got the locker rooms, you've got Light the Fuse, Next Level Podcast, the Impact Attack. We can go on. There's a new show coming up very soon, I do believe. I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything just yet, but I think there is something coming up in the near future for that there. Plus, so keep in touch and keep it all things there. Also, we've got the affiliates channel, the Hammy Media affiliates channel. John's Academy podcast is normally there. I'm trying to get it on. I'm having so many fucking problems getting it back on, but I will be on soon. The Academy podcast with John Enright and Triple D is a regular show that they have on reviewing Star Trek. They've got the NFO podcast, New Force Order for Star Trek. Suck My Balls, the South Park podcast. So much stuff. There's ridiculous amounts of content.
Don't forget
Destino, the New Japan podcast as well. The content,
which I'm on the last episode recorded. So
a belter of a show, I must say.
Whatever that new secret show is, I have to be on that too. I
hope I've not
running out of hours in the day.
I hope I'm not spoken out of line yet.
I don't even know about a new show. So
you're not. Oh shit. Oh well. cut. But anyway, there's so much content that we do on the Hammy Media Group. There's something for everyone. If you love wrestling, if you love retro stuff, if you love talking about current events, we're here. We've got you covered. Be part of the squad. We'd love to have you for that. Yeah. And on that note, I think that's everything. Thank you so much, Rick. Thanks for coming on RBV. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Smack Attack. It's been a long time coming. Don't make it too long before your next visit. Please make sure we get you back on soon. Vet, love having you on as always. You're always welcome. There's a coffee cup with your name on it now. So if you ever want to be involved, join on. You just say the word. Both of you, just say the word. If you want on, give me a message. We'll get you on.
As long as
RBV
it's not a
startled.
Joe coffee cup.
Oh, how dare you. Boo. That's it. Rescinded. But no, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much to the live chat for keeping it real, keeping it lively as we went through the show. And thank you, the viewer and the listener. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. So take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you next week for another edition of the Smack Attack. Cheery!